Hello everybody and welcome to the 13th round of the 2004 AIF1 Challenge season. We are here for the United States Grand Prix and the return of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Last season we were at Watkins Glen as the Indianapolis Motor Speedway was taken off the calendar and is on a rotation basis with the New York circuit. So last season was Watkins Glen, this season Indianapolis, and next season is Watkins Glen once more. 73 laps ahead of the drivers around this legendary circuit, and I'm joined today by Nils Hartl.
Hello everybody.
Going into this round, Kimi Raikkonen leads the championship. He scored yet another decent result in that McLaren, albeit not close to the race win. That was dominated by Michael Schumacher, who took his fourth victory of the season. He seems to maybe be getting over his reliability issues, but as soon as we say something good about Michael Schumacher, his car probably will blow up in the next race. Knowing him, Raikkonen then leads the championship by 7 ahead of Giorgio Pantano. A rough couple of races as well for Fernando Alonso sees him fall all the way down to 5th place. Jarno Trulli as well is expected to be back for the next round in Belgium, with his injury setting him back post-Hungarian Grand Prix. Is now 15 points off the lead of the championship. Villeneuve's race, his first one for Williams last time out as his home Grand Prix, did not go to plan, where he retired from 14th place and as such did not score points for the first time this season. Further back we've got Ralph Furman in the top 10 in the standings. Nicolas Manassian there just 2 places back, with Riccardo Sperafico splitting the two. Fisichella got more points on the board as well, has now moved within a point of Alexander Wirtz, who is still unable to compete this season. 24 drivers scoring points this year, and in the constructors, a good result from McLaren sees them be the first team this season to hit 100 points. They are 8 points clear of Renault in second, and a very poor race overall from Ferrari, with Barrichello in 8th. Although Toccicello did do a decent job in mostly keeping up with his teammate throughout that Grand Prix, he finished in 9th on his debut in Formula 1, and as such Ferrari only scored a solitary point last time out at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, so they have fallen off the pace quite a little bit, as like I say, McLaren scored a lot of points last time out. Williams in 4th, pretty comfortable ahead of Toyota and BAR, after Montoya got that 2nd place, just ahead of Giorgio Pantano, with 12 teams so far scoring this season. Do you see any way that Kimi Raikkonen could possibly lose this by this point? Because I feel like more often than not, he's the one that's got the better reliability out the two McLarens, and especially with Raikkonen just, I don't know, he's not really in the fight that often for race victories, but more often than not, you will see him on the podium.
I mean, if he doesn't start winning soon, he probably will fall behind at least Giorgio Pantano, because the Italian has 2 wins to his name already, usually finish on the upper hand of the point spectrum as well if he finishes the races, with Spain being the only time he finished outside the top 5. Michael, on the other hand, if he somehow now magically has a reliable car, probably will be the bet to put where you could bet on to win the championship at the end. I don't think Trulli is really in it anymore. I feel like he's dragging the Ferrari further in higher positions than it should be, or Barrichello is just doing a miserable job, but I feel like the Ferrari is currently out the spectrum of the McLaren or the Renault.
Well, in practice, Ferrari once again not showing all too good pace. Neither was McLaren, to be fair. It was a all Renault affair at the front 2 spaces. They were 3/10 clear of 3rd place man Rubens Barrichello. Raikkonen in 4th, with Juan Pablo Montoya 5th. A decent showing as well from Enrico Toccicello to just be 4/10 away from his teammate in that practice session. Ralph Furman, Fisichella and Narain Karthikeyan, who stood in for Nicolas Manassian, did a fantastic job in being less than a 10th or just over a 10th of a second away from his main drive teammate Ralph Furman. Further back we've got just a regular running of the order really. Gary Paffett standing in for Michael Schumacher down at McLaren. He was in 12th place. Further back we've got Paul Tracy once again taking the reins over in that Rose car. I've got to say the times were very close in the practice session, just 2.2 seconds separating the top 27. Of course, we've got the 2 Minardis at the back of Jung and Montero, with Ralf Schumacher Schumacher unable to set a time due to a technical problem with his car. Do you think that Renault can now go and probably push on and try and maybe take the lead in the constructors if they can produce a good enough car in the race?
I mean, we have seen the Renaults being quick on the Friday. Usually they are around to top 2, top 3. And then all of a sudden they fall off during the sessions where it matters the most, like qualifying or races, especially with Alonso's car. Really depends on if the setup is right this time around and if the Renault engine is capable of sustaining high speeds around this high-speed circuit.
Without further ado then, let's jump straight into qualifying. Welcome in everybody, by the way. Welcome in Horizon FF. Mike, who is here for the first time in a live stream. Yeah, we're doing this earlier than usual because, well, the plan was to do this before the Miami Grand Prix started in real life, the 2026 Miami Grand Prix, but that's looking like it could possibly be cancelled, so this could all be for nothing. But either way, we're doing this at an earlier time that we usually do. So yeah, welcome in everybody. Hope everyone's weeks have gone well. And as we head into qualifying, there is a couple of segments of news, including the upgrades going into the United States Grand Prix, where Ferrari bring a rear wing drag reduction upgrade. Renault have a rear wing downforce upgrade. Brabham fetched their first upgrade of the season with a front wing downforce update. And yeah, I think that's actually just it. So yeah, just 3 teams fetching upgrades this season. Not this season, jeez. This race. As we're seeing the first of the drivers out on circuit. Felipe Massa first one out, quickly followed by Tom Coronel. So yeah, you fetched upgrades to your car then. The Brabham team, of course, which will be called Astrian for next season. And do you think, well, you'll be hoping certainly that they fetch you some better performance than what you have been having in recent rounds. I feel like you've been falling closer and closer to the bottom 4 more often than not, especially with the recent form boost of the 2 Bootsons.
Definitely, we scrapped together some budget to make this upgrade last, and also the next upgrade that's coming to our car as well. But it is more to keep us away from the bottom 4 in order to not fall into the non-qualifying teams. Heidfeld sadly has not qualified for one race already, that being Austria, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
But the focus is more on 2005, building a strong car for that. Because our approach to the earlier part of the season seemingly has worked, with throwing essentially all our budget at the early season car. But we will hope that we have more budget for next season, that is.
Welcome in, Gallifreyan. Good thing that you took a break from gaming. You would have missed this. Hello. Yes, I remembered about 2 minutes from the start of the stream that I actually hadn't scheduled it, so that's why it was the very last second cobbled together if it hadn't showed up on people's recommended pages. Yeah, I'd remembered everything else apart from actually setting up the stream, which was very good from me. So yeah, Felipe Massa then first one out there on circuit. He set a 24.3 in the first sector. We'll see if Tom Coronel can match him. He cannot. It seems that the BAR has been struggling in recent rounds. I don't think they've scored points in either of the last 3 Grand Prix. I think sounds about right. I think it is something like that. We're missing game audio. Thanks for reminding. I always do this, right? Because I share the same scene with my... what's it called? The 1993 GPFL mod. And because they're called different EXEs, then I have to swap them every time. There we go. There we go. It should have some audio now. Thank you, Gallifreyan. But yeah. We're here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Missed out in 2003 at this circuit as it was taken over by Watkins Glen for the host of the United States Grand Prix. The circuit has been on the F1 calendar since the year 2000 and has fetched fairly okay races in the past due to the lack of overtakes that we saw in recent races around this circuit, as well as the dwindling attendances around this circuit that decided to move it elsewhere for 2003 and 2005. Today's stream is rather early. You are indeed correct, Peter. Welcome in. Yeah, it's because I wanted to not get this conflicted with the real-life 2026 Miami Grand Prix that should be happening later this afternoon or this evening, but as it currently stands, might not even be happening because of the thunderstorms that are happening at the circuit. So Massa to the top of the table, he's on 17.8 and has outpaced Tom Coronel by nearly 7/10, and Scott Dixon, who slots in just behind his teammate, I think was held up behind the Opel, if I'm not mistaken. And I've got to say, for the first time, we're seeing a Dams out there on circuit fairly early on in the session. It's not often that you actually get to see that. He's gone 3/10 quicker than Massa through the first sector, 2/10 faster through the second sector, and we'll see if he's capable of taking this to pole. He should be able to with that Cosworth-powered car, as Ricardo Zonta, fourth and last of the running order so far. So Ralph Furman will round the final corner and across the line for Ralph Furman, and he's on pole by just under 4/10 of a second. Pedro de la Rosa also trying to set a lap, although he's getting attacked by Scott Dixon. He's being blocked off by Thiago Monteiro. There. Yeah, it's very congested down there in the third sector as they come now through the last couple of corners. Speaking of Minardi, they have actually changed their driver lineup for this Grand Prix. So Minardi secure lifeline as MOL exits, forces driver change. Financial turbulence has struck Minardi once again, with the Hungarian oil company MOL Group withdrawing from sponsorship for the remainder of the 2004 season. The sudden departure has immediate consequences for both the team's stability and driver lineup, with Zsolt Baumgartner released from his seat as a result. In response, Minardi have returned to a familiar face, recalling Alex Yoong to race for the rest of the campaign. The Malaysian driver, who previously competed for the team in 2002 and made a one-off appearance earlier in this season in Malaysia, returns with significant financial backing from new title sponsor Tenaga Nasional. This deal provides a crucial financial boost that ensures Minardi's short-term survival. He has indeed. He's gone to second position. He's actually pretty close to Ralph Furman, I say that, and Furman's improved by a quarter of a second, so the gap now extends once more out to half a second. Thiago Monteiro also out there on circuit right now. The deal provides crucial financial boost that ensures Minardi's short-term survival, something that has been in serious doubt following MOL's exit. Paul Stoddart has been quoted that it's been a very stressful time, but I'm glad to get this deal over the line. We would have 100% struggled to even reach this Grand Prix in Indianapolis without our new sponsor, and we welcome Alex back to the team. For Baumgartner, the news is a harsh setback. The Hungarian driver, who had already endured a difficult season, and the loss of MOL's backing ultimately left his position untenable. His departure also ends one of the few direct national links between a driver and sponsor on the grid this year. Monteiro across the line.
Personal best in the first sector, actually sessions best.
Monteiro just under 8 seconds away. De La Rosa, of course, was held up by the Minardi, wasn't he? So, of course, he's not set a good lap either. For Minardi, the priority remains simple: survival. The arrival of Tenaga Nasional and Yoong may not be immediately transformable on track competitive-wise, but it ensures the team can continue competing through the remainder of the season, a victory in itself given the circumstances. Jacques Villeneuve then rounding the final couple of corners in the Williams BMW, and he should be able to take pole position. We've not seen much from Villeneuve, at least in the Canadian Grand Prix, and the straight line speed deficit compared to the Dams clearly visible on show there. Purple in the first and second sector, but slower than Furman through that last sector means that he slots in just behind by less than half a tenth of a second. Fisichella's been in good form as of recent. He's scored in each of the 3 previous rounds, as Giorgio Pantano also out there on circuit right now. Where is Fisichella? He's across the line. He sets a purple final sector, actually, so a decent lap there from the Italian as he moves up into third position, but just behind him is Giorgio Pantano, who is now starting his lap. Fernando Alonso also out there on circuit right now, but this Toyota that's just in the way of Giorgio Pantano could prove crucial for his first run on this circuit.
Which actually, with you speaking about the Toyota being the fastest through the last sector, could also lead to what is quite evident all across the season, with Furman and Villeneuve struggling for top-end speed, not setting the fastest last sector time. So I expect like Opel definitely to take that, having one of the best engines and probably one of the least amount of drag to go hand in hand with that. But I also expect like the Mercedes powered cars to be quick through turn 13, the first corner of the oval. So probably a mixed up grid in terms of top speed and downforce dependent cars. But now Pantano across leading up to the line.
And the
a
Italian...
lot of time through...
Yeah, go.
Okay, losing a lot of time through the middle sector, but makes it up through the first and last sector, goes to the provisional pole time, as Alonso is also out on circuit and goes quicker than his teammate in the first sector.
Fernando Alonso then, he's been struggling for form as of recent. He's actually been very good in qualifying, scoring 2 pole positions in recent rounds, and goes to pole position once more with a 1 minute 17.1 as he's gone 0.08 faster than his Italian teammate. Juan Pablo Montoya still the centrepiece of that Williams team, even though he is confirmed to be leaving Williams at the end of this season. It'll be interesting to see how if he can return. Of course, there's still no status on Alexander Wirtz returning for next season. Jenson Button also confirmed to be driving for the team next season. So, dependent on what happens with Wirtz, could leave Williams in a bit of a disrepute, really, in terms of their driver lineup. As there goes Juan Pablo Montoya across the line, and it's 6th place for him. Massa on his second run, and he's half a second up through the first sector.
Montoya behind Villeneuve, interestingly enough. Villeneuve may be also an option if Wirtz can't return to racing next season, seeing as he stepped into the car pretty easily and is doing a great job compared to Marc Gené to Montoya's times, as Montoya sets a second consecutive lap, or tries to set a second consecutive lap.
You probably...
Yeah, go on.
You probably expect it, though, for Villeneuve to be outpacing Marc Gené, even though Gené has the experience of testing that car and being more at home in that Williams. You'd probably expect Villeneuve to still outpace the Spaniard, as Massa up towards the line and a second lap much more competitive, going into the 1 minute 15s and nearly beating the rest of the field by the best part of 2 seconds on that lap, as Juan Pablo Montoya will be able to make his way around this final corner.
We haven't seen that many cars out on circuit, only like 14 cars still currently setting a lap time, as Montoya goes 5th fastest, now ahead of his teammate. Interesting to see that teams are quite late or wait a lot currently into the session, having nearly already completed 15 minutes. Also, going on to the topic of Montoya still having not a seat, I would expect BAR to look at him as an option, seeing as their current lineup is not the greatest for a team with their financial backing. So maybe Montoya would be an option.
Yeah, it seems like once again that BAR's driver lineup is pretty strange due to its circumstances. Of course, at the back end of 2002, we had both their full-time drivers of David Coulthard and Ralf Schumacher injured at points at the same time of the season towards the end. So we actually ended up with a lineup of Cristiano De Matta and Björn Verdheim in the last couple of races of that season. It's a similar situation that they found themselves in now, with Scott Dixon replacing the outgoing Dan Weldon towards IndyCar. He has gone now, and Tom Coronel has replaced David Coulthard, as the Scotsman is injured with a broken toe. Cristiano De Matta will be hoping to have a better time of it in qualifying, as he last time out was 27th and out of qualifying. His teammate Björn Verdheim, who stepped in for Jenson Button, was also out in that session. So for the first time last time out, we saw both Jaguars fail to qualify, which was a massive shock, I've got to say, as we saw all 4 of the bottom cars out with a Cosworth engine. So definitely a power-related problem down at the team. Fortunately, though, for Dams, they were able to pretty easily make their way through. Pedro de la Rosa then on a second lap and looking much more accustomed to his car after his banker lap.
In the meantime, Justin Wilson has jumped up the order ahead of Tom Coronel in that Rose Motorsport car. Rose Motorsport, I think, is located near the Indianapolis circuit, so their home race as well.
Pedro de la Rosa then will make his way up towards the line, and this is a much better improvement of 7.5 seconds. I don't know what he was doing on that first lap, to be honest, to be that far off, even with being held up, but he goes second place. Nick Heidfeld also out there on circuit right now.
Villeneuve now improves for the first sector as well. Massive improvement by 7/10 across the whole lap, or across the whole first sector.
Gallifreyan believes that with no updates on Wirtz, the only sensible thing for Williams to do would to be breaking his contract and sign Montoya for another year. That could also be an option, but if Williams do leave it too late, then there could 100% be a chance that Montoya gets snapped up by another team. Of course, Montoya, I feel like, has probably been the driver of the season for me, as he has dragged that Williams into places that it probably shouldn't be, and is... You could argue that he's somewhat still in the title race, even despite the limitations of that Williams. Villeneuve then, purple through Sector 1 and purple through Sector 2. Can he bridge the gap, though, to Felipe Massa in the final sector? He can just about, and he goes to pole position, the Canadian, at the top of the times by 1/10.5.
I mean, if we look at Montoya's season and across the whole season, he has taken, well, a victory at Monaco and a second place now at Canada. So the Colombian definitely has the right to be called the driver currently of the season, seeing as the Williams is probably one of the poorest packages on the grid from the top teams. Now, Dixon also a driver accustomed to this oval, or, well, the oval layout at least of this track. Up to the line. And goes third fastest ahead of Pedro de la Rosa.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of drivers are getting to grips with their cars. Still, obviously, quite green this circuit, of course. Does not have that much running on the road course, with it being last used in 2002, for Formula 1 at least. Yeah, so there's 6 rounds to go, including this Grand Prix. Are there any other notable names out of contract for 2005? Both McLaren drivers are out of contract. Jarno Trulli is still also without a drive for next season, so a lot has yet to be decided towards the front of the field. However, a lot of the seats, I believe, have actually already been filled towards the back of the grid, as Fisichella into the 1:14s and to pole position by 2.5 tenths.
But yet we are still to see Michael and Raikkonen, as well as Toccocello, if we go off the top teams. Interesting that teams really take a lot of time to prepare the cars, or maybe just doesn't want to stress their engines too much, seeing as they would get a 10-place grid penalty, I think it is, if one of the engines blows up. 5 places, actually. Never mind.
So it could be a situation where obviously you see a lot of these first lap times and they're very slow, so the track could still be very green, so they might not just want to be wasting laps circulating around the track at a fairly slow manner. BAR, though, have got both their cars out there on circuit. Dixon has already done 2 laps in this session. Coronel is on his second lap and is 3.5 seconds down on the provisional pole lap so far.
I mean, I see an issue with that approach, seeing as multiple teams are currently doing it. So no like rubber is being laid out by any cars, really. So could backfire on the top teams as well.
Of course, a lot of these long corners could produce a lot of tyre wear as well as tyre temperature, so they may be trying to gauge the competition on how they perform around these long infield corners, as Coronel slots within 1/10 of his teammate Scott Dixon into 5th position. Felipe Massa out there again. He's already on a 3rd lap, and we're not even 20 minutes into this session, so he's wanting to lay the gauntlet down for the rest of the field to try and beat, although he's not improving through that second sector. Ricardo Zonta is, though, he's 6 tenths down on Fisichella's first sector time.
In the meantime, the reigning world champion is finally out on circuit, as well as Ricardo Spirifico and Timo Glock also now exiting the pits. Some more drivers setting a lap time Massa does not improve, down on his personal best by around half a tenth. Ricardo Zonta probably boots and star signing in a grand scheme of things, since his signing to the main seat boots him usually close or around the qualifying cars. Oh, I think he was 3 seconds up through the middle sector in total, so could see him jump up the order quite massively.
Ricardo Zonta, then the Brazilian, has qualified for each of the previous 2 Grand Prix, I think, or maybe even 3 Grand Prix. I think, yeah, 3 Grand Prix it is for Ricardo Zonta, and he moves up to 8th place ahead of Fernando Alonso. I'm sure that will change as the session progresses, as Ricardo Sbarifico, the other Toyota, with his teammate on pole, will be looking to get fairly close to his teammate in this qualifying session. Once again, it seems that Fisichella is back up to full scratch in terms of his racing ability and is putting Sbarifico through his paces in the qualifying battle. Neither driver, though, confirmed for a seat for next season. Sbarifico still needs to probably prove himself, even despite his decent debut season, in which he has scored 16 points so far. That is
Ralph.
a Honda. Yes, it is Ralph with a gearbox issue, so he's going to have to get that one back to the pits and fixed on his car. Webber, though, will make his way up to the line and improve by 2 seconds to go up to 6th place.
But Justin Wilson, in the meantime, is quite impressive in the Rolls Motorsport car, usually not the quickest around any circuit. Currently on pace with Mark Webber. He goes 8th fastest. Decent improvement.
Is indeed. It's also a fairly monumental race in terms of Rubens Barrichello, of course, as well, as he was nearly outpaced by new boy Enrico Torricello down at Ferrari, and he will need to definitely prove himself, even though he's got a contract until the end of 2005. Barrichello, he certainly needs to be proving that he has got what it takes to be beating such a teammate in the team. Of course, Barrichello has been struggling in that car, but no one's expected this.
Definitely. Especially with Torricello not having the best of junior careers in the grand scheme of things. Being more or less just in the team basically of his citizenship. But currently doing a stellar job in his first outings with the team.
Torricello then...
is... Yeah?
Yeah, go on, sorry. Go on.
Is probably doing more than expected compared to Rubens Barrichello, who was expected to be closer to Trulli, but not close enough to challenge the number 1 driver, and should have probably now stepped up in the team leader role, as Timo Glock goes 19th overall, probably being hampered on his lap as well.
Torricello then will make his way to the second sector split, and he's 3 seconds down, so this is certainly just a bit of a temporary outlap. Or kind of, yeah, just a bit of a banker run here from Enrico Torricello. The Italian will be looking to try and score his first points in Formula 1 in this race weekend after finishing so close in 9th place in the Canadian Grand Prix across the line, and he goes 16th fastest. Montoya and Furman once again out there on circuit.
Raikkonen out on circuit as well now, or leaving the pits at least, so the Finn is now setting his first flyer soon as well.
Montoya would preferably like to get ahead of Timo Glock before starting his qualifying lap.
I think Glock, though, is heading to the pits, so he could have left a gap, essentially.
And, yeah, I feel like Montoya has still got his point to prove, really. I feel like he could realistically get into any seat on the grid in terms of... one of the top teams, McLaren, Ferrari, BAR. I feel like with his skill set that he has proved down at Williams since his debut in 2000, he has proven to be potentially a future world champion, although time could be possibly running out for Montoya, not only in his age, but possibly also his patience at the Williams team. Montoya currently in 14th place in this qualifying session, as we were talking about Glock. His teammate Pedro De La Rosa fastest through the final sector, so the sector that matters entirely on straight line speed. Opel once again topping those.
As expected, but I feel like Montoya's not probably suited that well for Ferrari, seeing as they need a driver who can help them develop the car I don't think Barrichello does a stellar job for that as well. I don't know if Montoya has proven himself as a driver who can develop a car, more like a driver who can drive around mistakes and car performance and drag it to possibly higher expected results than it should have. Seeing with that poor BMW Williams currently. It's Furman now, fastest through the first sector, so maybe Dams has an outside shot at a pole position here.
Montoya up towards the line, and he could be potentially challenging his teammate Villeneuve. Doesn't seem so, though, through the final sector. He seems to have lost a lot of time there in the final sector. He was less than a tenth down through the first two sectors, and then lost it all in the last sector. Furman, though, will go across the line, and he can't quite beat Fisichella. Fisichella in that Toyota seemingly having the advantage over the remainder of the field, at least for now, through that last part of the lap when it counts. Raikkonen, though, will make his way around the final couple of corners. This looks fairly pedestrian from the championship leader, of course, leading the way in the standings by 7 points ahead of Giorgio Pantano. Ralph Furman on another lap as Raikkonen across the line, and it's a fairly pedestrian 15th place for him as of right now, as Pitsonia has run into troubles with his car, and that's a front and rear wing lost at the bare minimum for the Brazilian, and I can already hear the teeth grinding of Nils Hartl. I'll get a replay of it in a second. I just would want to make sure that I'm not making sure.
In the meantime, it's going even quicker.
Let's see what's happened then. Hello, Joycey. Welcome in. Hope that your week has gone well.
At least be at an engine because I don't have to pay that.
It's in towards the first corner. Looks like a brake failure for Pitsonia.
You have all the runoff area in the world and you decide to go to the wall.
And that is going to be some damage bill for the Brabham team.
That's the reason I didn't renew your contract.
Furman then will make his way up towards the line. Sorry, that was Montoya making his way across the line, and I think he found a bit of an improvement on his lap to go up into 4th position. Furman, though, will make his way across the line, and this time round, he goes to pole position. Nearly beaten by Fisichella through the final sector, but just about holds on through that last part of the lap to go to pole position with a 1 minute 14.8. The Dark Lord of Pitsonia strikes again.
As Ralf Schumacher's problem with his gearbox has been fixed, or he jumped into the spare car. So he's now heading out on circuit as well, as we think Alex Young already settled. Yeah, Alex Young already set a lap time.
He's just going to cross
he's
the
almost
line.
Lap.
Fisichella also
in the
out
meantime.
There he is.
Crewing. Probably will take back the provisional pole, seeing as the Toyota is one of the most capable cars on the straight line.
Button went 20th and nearly 5 seconds off the pace. Fisichella across the line, and he'll retake that pole position away from Ralph Furman. No purple sectors for the Italian, but it's still enough to take him to pole by a quarter of a tenth. Benoit Trellier, his teammates, up in 10th place right now, despite a lot of the front runners not going out and setting a lap time so far. Ralf Schumacher will be starting his lap soon.
Terror's beating people. Minardi could not qualify.
I think we'll see eventually that the likes of Glock, D'Amata, Button, Heidfeld will probably find time. Toccacello, Speraffico, Raikkonen. When you look at the drivers that Minardi have more often than not been close to fighting, such as the Brabhams and the Rose cars, they're up in 13th, 12th, 10th for Wilson in his case. I feel like it will be a trip towards the back of the field once again and a non-qualification, although the upgrades that they do plan to bring in Belgium have been saved by the arrival of Tenaga Nacional and Alex Young, so fortunately those upgrades will still be going ahead. Heidfeld to 10th position as of right now, as he goes just over a second away from Fisichella's pole time. 23.5 I should say, from the German 2003 world champion in the Honda second sector, and he's 3 tenths down. So what is he capable of doing? Of course, this will be his first and last season at the Honda team before he moves over to the newly rebranded TWR Jaguar team for 2005 alongside Björn Verdheim, and maybe, who knows, it could be a good move. At the current stage, though, it looks like Honda are the stronger team out of him, the Japanese and the British outfits. Ralf Schumacher, though, to 9th position, just ahead of Pedro de la Rosa. Timo Glock, here, de la Rosa's teammate, down in 24th right now, and second slowest of those that have set a lap time as of right now. Benoit Trellier also out there, going fairly slow through the first 2 sectors.
5 seconds down. I feel like he's stuck in some sort of traffic as Ralph is doing a consecutive lap, seeing as he probably lost 1 lap earlier just because of the gearbox problem. Tries to get it back. So now Timo Glock probably at Opel's best chance to get some speed or get some lap time with the banked corner across the line now. And climbs up to 13th behind Justin Wilson, so lost a lot of time for the first and second sector compared to the Rose Motorsport car.
I tell you what though, Joycey, you are the first person that says that you do not like the Honda livery, to be honest. I enjoy it. What do you think, Nils? Do you like this livery?
I don't like the orange sponsor, but that's more down to the sponsor itself. Other than that, if the side pods, if the barge pods were like black or blue compared to their, or going hand in hand with the like mirrors, it's a quite decent livery.
Takuma Sato then in the other Honda is making his way through the first two sectors. Michael Schumacher also making his way on his first lap through the first sector. He's set a sector time a second faster as Sato across the line. 23rd fastest for him right now. Michael Schumacher also out there on circuit.
Why isn't Honda using a JTC livery like the Takata Town livery? Because first of all, they are horrible to reproduce and don't look good on Formula 1 cars.
I've also kind of kept the same design since the team's inception in 2000 as well, so the design's pretty much always been the same. It's just that it's had different kind of
shake up as Rubens goes quickest for the first sector.
23-0 then for the Brazilian, and I've got to say this could be a crucial qualifying session for him. Last time out though in Canada, he was within a whisker of actually getting knocked out, setting a lap time towards the end of the session, setting him into 7th position I think it was by the end of the session. But he was down in 27th, and with the clouds forming around the circuit, he got his lap in just in time to make his way through to the Grand Prix, as Scott Dixon finds a bit of time, I believe, to go to 5th place ahead of Felipe Massa. Barrichello could be pushing the New Zealander a further position down as Ferrari look to establish themselves at the top of the times once again. It's purple all around for Rubens Barrichello through all 3 sectors, and he goes to the top of the times by half a second. So the gauntlet has been laid by Barrichello as we go halfway through this session. Montero holding up Dixon, who fortunately I think is on a in-lap. So Montero looks... Oh yeah, an in-lap I should say. No improvement for Coronel as Pantano goes out there on circuit, so he'll be looking to potentially take the fight to Barrichello, as will this man right here, Kimi Raikkonen, through the first sector. Not as fast as Rubens Barrichello, not exactly sure how much slower, but he's certainly not as fast as the Brazilian.
First time I see anybody saying that the Brabham is their favorite custom team livery when I don't even like it myself. But I take the compliment, I guess.
Hello Pioneer, welcome in. And also Expert as well. I would like to say, by the way, I think was it Gallifreyan that said that you hope that the TWR Jaguar is British Racing Green? I've got some bad news to tell you.
Oh boy.
It's not British Racing Green next season. I've already made the livery. It's not British Racing Green next season. Raikkonen across the line then in his McLaren, and it's 4th place for him. I tell you what, he's been struggling massively in qualifying as of late, Raikkonen, but, you know, the reliability of his side of the garage, at least at McLaren, seems to be dragging him through this championship season, still with a championship lead of 7 points ahead of this man right here, Pantano, who is ever so slightly up on Barrichello through the first 2 sectors.
Now the Renault engine has to play its powers across the or through the banked turn 13. Up to the line goes the Italian. And snatches, does not snatch pole position from Rubens Barrichello's 1/10 down of the Brazilian.
So I think that the Ferrari is slightly faster than the Renault in a straight line. That would assume to me. Looking at the chart, though, the Renault is actually faster, so I'm not exactly sure what Pantano has done to be slower through that last sector. Justin Wilson will make his way up towards the line, and he improves ever so slightly, but not enough to go ahead of Nick Heidfeld as of right now. His teammate, though, Antonio Pittonia, out there on circuit once more after crashing. I assume he's now in the spare car.
Don't bin it. Well, Silcat liveries won't happen anytime soon because sponsorship ban of tobacco advertisement.
Antonio Pittonia then with a 23.8 through that first sector is fairly comparable here to the Boutsen of Ricardo Zonta, who has gone slightly slower than that but is not improving. Tocciello, meanwhile, is up by a second in the first sector, as I believe someone has just gone off. Who was that? 32? That's got to be Zonta, hasn't it?
Feel like, yeah. Did he spin or did he have a mechanical failure?
Was it not him? Is it 22? Who's 22?
Isn't that like... I have the 30s. Is it like Trillier, maybe?
Yes. No, it's Wilson.
Wilson, yeah.
He had a crash in... what is wrong with his car?
Suspension or maybe suspension?
Can't exactly tell.
Just gave up?
I think it could be brake failure, to be fair. It could be also that. Because he's...
Yeah, probably.
Oh, you got the boots and the Brabham mixed up.
Thank you. It was like nobody's going to love this livery.
Pittonia then coming round the final corner to complete his first time lap in the session. 25 minutes to go, and he goes to 17th, which is 3 places lower than Nick Heidfeld as of right now. Enrico Tocciello, though, making his way through the last sector as well, and he is up quite considerably through the first 2 sectors. His teammate, though, on pole position as of right now, and I've got to say it's a bit of a shock for probably most of the fans here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Tocciello across the line, and it's a decent lap from him to go up into 4th position, as Fernando Alonso, I believe, is now starting a lap. So watch on board with this lap. Do you want to take us through a lap, Nils?
I can try at least, as we head down to the first corner. Hefty braking zone into this awkward chicane, quite long stretched. Now heading into that infield section purposely built for F1 ahead of the 2000 season. Not liked by many of the drivers, actually, now into one of the multiple 180-degree hairpin corners. Onto the slightly shorter back straight. Still a decent passing opportunity down into this left-hander coming up pretty soon. On top speed around 300 and 280. Into those awkward hairpins to slow the cars nearly down to a standstill. Now, back on the throttle for this quite decent right-hander to set up the final stretch of the lap, the banked turn 13, as already stated. the first corner of the Indianapolis Oval to cross now the Brickyard soon as well. Across the line goes the Spaniard and goes third fastest ahead of Fisichella, but decently down on Barrichello.
Nicholas Manassian, the last driver, go figure, to set a lap time in a qualifying session. We've seen that so many times throughout this season, and he is not looking like he's on course for a good lap at all, being his first lap in the session. Takuma Sato, though, on a improving lap. He's 23.7 through the first sector, is a tenth faster than Antonio Pizzonia. We'll see how he fares compared to the Brazilian through the second sector. He's 4 tenths faster overall through the first 2/3 of this lap. So we'll see how the Japanese driver is capable of taking his car potentially towards, I don't know, the top 20 maybe. Maybe, surely it's got to be ahead of at least Pizzonia as he now makes his way across the line. And it's not. It's slower than Pizzonia, actually, as he's nearly 2 seconds off the pace. Alex Young making his first start as a full-time driver in the 2000 season, this time for Minardi, or at least once again for Minardi, as he was in Malaysia for a one-off race for sponsorship. I think he actually did the French Grand Prix as well. No, he did he do I think it was Bahrain and Malaysia, wasn't it?
Let me look.
I think he did. I think he did two. Yeah, he did 2 races.
Malaysia and Bahrain.
And Alex Young then making his way towards the final corner. And I've got to say, looks a lot less spectacular than any of the other cars going through there due to how much slower the Minardi is. But hopefully that gap can be somewhat squashed with their upgrades for the next round. Young then across the line, and as of right now, is in the safety zone. Probably will change very quickly though. Webber out there on circuit and improving through the first sector. He's in 13th right now and needs to find 0.2 of a second if he wants to get ahead of his teammate Felipe Massa. Could be close to doing so since he's a 10.5 up through the first 2 sectors. You read once that Minardi were well regarded on the pit wall as making the best coffee of all teams. Or that maybe they should get, for the last couple of rounds, maybe we should get like a Nescafe sponsorship or something like that then.
Or maybe just put up a coffee stand to get some additional funds.
Got on the side pod. Greatest coffee in F1, $1.99. Webber then goes up to 9th position in the session, 20 places back, and we can find Cristiano Damata currently in the drop zone. Surely got to improve though, ahead of a few drivers at the very least, and splits the 2 Bootsons only. So that's 23rd for Damata, and it's again a worrying sign if you're a fan of Jaguar, with Damata not setting a brilliant lap time at all through this start of the session.
There's still buttons Sperrifico Friesaka, I think, has instead of second consecutive or second competitive lap time, as Sperrifico is currently out on circuit, as well as Damata's teammate. And Benoit Trollier probably is looking to improve as well, seeing as Wilson is 17th. So Damata is by far not safe.
Welcome in, Leandro. Use the coffee as the fuel. It might make it faster, I don't know. Maybe it needs some caffeine in the old Cosworth box. Can't even call it an engine, really. Sperrifico then in the middle sector and should be on course for a decent improvement then. 23.3 through the first sector.
With tobacco being banned for next season, who will sponsor Renault for 2005 onwards? So, I feel like it's similar to the ruling it was in real life, with circuits outside Europe being allowed to have the tobacco sponsorship, and circuits inside Europe having something like Team Spirit or something on the sidepods.
Yeah, it will be something similar to as it was in real life. The ban only comes to the European circuit as Sperrifico goes up into 8th position, which is still behind his teammate by a 10.5. Benoit Trellier in another Toyota-powered car, a lot further down, and last place actually, behind absolutely everyone, of course. So yeah, the ruling is that it is banned for the European rounds, so you can have kind of like the team spirit sort of thing that Renault did in real life, or something like Buzzing and Hornets if you want to count something like Jordan. Why is Button 28th? Button's only done one lap, although Jaguar might be finished because Damata's done 2 laps and is still only 24th. So, saying that, he's up by 2.5 seconds is Jenson Button. Trellier across the line and he goes up into 23rd position. That means that Patrick Friesacker is now on the brink.
Minardi has been pushed out into the bottom 4.
And Button up to 22nd. So Button now just 2 seconds away from pole position, 3/10 ahead of his teammate Cristiano Damata, as Barrichello through the first 2 sectors is pretty much marginal with his previous best. So Barrichello on fire right now in qualifying, I should add, with 17 minutes to go at the top of the times ahead of Pantano, Alonso, Fisichella, Toccacello, Furman, Raikkonen and Sperrifico.
Cross the line, the Brazilian, and is not improving, down by 100th of a second.
I think Pitsonia is out there again on another lap in the session. I think most of these cars are part food, wine fuel, Dam's cheese suspension. I'm sure the front of the rows is some sort of cake. we should invent like TikTok or YouTube shorts and cut the Rose car in half and will it cake.
Yeah.
You just take a chainsaw to the car. That'd be great publicity. He is indeed the Brazilian, currently in 13th place, which is 7 places higher than the driver we are currently looking at, and he makes his way up towards the line, and there is a ever so slight improvement, not enough though to take him ahead of Scott Dixon, who currently lies a position in front and is also out there on circuit right now.
Meantime, as already seen in the practice sessions, the lap times between the top 10 at least are hella close. Like they're separated by 1 second at least. Hello, Jake.
Yeah, hello Jake, welcome in. Pitsonia now starting his 3rd lap in the session as Scott Dixon makes his way through the final couple of corners. I saw this car in half, and with some flex tape, it even works underwater. And then he proceeds to put a shark in it.
Yeah. As Furman and Toccacello and Pantano back out on circuit as well.
Not seen a second lap yet from Michael Schumacher. He's well out of position right now. After 1 lap, he's down in 23rd. Need to go and prep today's race. Back in a few, no worries at Gallifreyan. Antonio Pitsonia will need to find 0.4 of a second to be matching his teammate Nick Heidfeld today, who is 3 places higher right now and is split by Justin Wilson and Timo Glock as of right now. Pitsonia, though, not improving through either of the first 2 sectors.
Just get back into the pits. Pantano actually fastest through the first sector. Could be maybe snatching away the pole position currently from Barrichello.
We'll see how Barrichello fares through the second of these 3 sectors. Massa has completed all of his laps, so he has been out-qualified by Mark Webber here today, who is sat up in 10th position right now. Montoya is ever so slightly up on his previous best lap, but not on his previous best sector through that first part of the track. Pantano, though, up ever so slightly through the first 2 sectors. We've seen on the speed trap at least that the Renault is slightly faster than the Ferrari through this final sector. It seems though that Barrichello has done something to allow him to get close. And Pantano across the line, it's 2nd place for him. What has happened to... Oh, that's a big incident there for Jacques Villeneuve. Yeah, that's down at turn 3 for Jacques Villeneuve. Hopefully I just didn't pit book someone. I don't think I did.
I don't think so.
So a massive pit entry here is the only problem. Let's see what happened then with the Canadian. It's another brake failure. And yeah.
And he
fairly similar crash. Yeah, a very similar crash to the Brabham of Pitsonia earlier on in the session. And that is probably with 14 minutes to go. Could potentially be the end of Jacques Villeneuve's session. Right now, though, he's ahead of his teammate Juan Pablo Montoya, as this man right here, Enrico Torricello, is out there on circuit improving. So he only needs to find 5,000ths of a second, actually, to move ahead of Giancarlo Fisichella. So it's almost fairly safe that if he does improve, then he will move ahead of the Italian. He's not.
He's actually slower.
He's not dead, Jake. God damn it.
As Furman is also improving for the first sector, currently faster than Enrico Torricello through the first sector as well. Could see him possibly move up ahead as Torricello goes 4 fastest.
Only just, though. A 100th of a second he found over the course of that lap. Ralph Furman also out there on circuit. He's the lead dams as of right now. Manassian still not out there on circuit, as he's only done 1 lap so far and sits in the drop zone in 28th. Montoya also looking to find an improvement to at least go ahead of his teammate Jacques Villeneuve. Furman finds no improvement. Montoya, though, through the 2 hairpins, is ever so slightly up through the first 2 sectors. So this is looking unlikely that Montoya is going to be able to surmount the gap that currently sits between him and his Canadian world champion teammate.
As Michael Schumacher is going back out on circuit as well with 12.5 minutes to go in this session. Montoya does improve his lap time but not his position, stays 11th.
So Montoya remains outside of the top 10 in this session. Fisichella also out there on circuit right now, but no improvement through either of the first 2 sectors. So he needs to find 6,000ths to go ahead of Torricello. Unable to actually improve on his previous time, sets an exact replica of Furman's best time in the session and stays in 5th place for now. Who's the guy in the earlier races who kept calling Villeneuve old?
Who called him old?
I can't actually remember if anyone actually did that.
Was it Jose?
Could have been, potentially, yeah.
Because he makes such wild takes.
Ralf Schumacher then is currently down in 15th place. Has the hold on his teammates in terms of the qualifying battle and improves by 0.5, but stays in that 15th position as Sato seems to have been held up potentially by the McLaren of Michael Schumacher, who is now out there on circuits. So he, I'm imagining, is starting his lap now, as I think that's just someone going into the pit lane. So let's see what happens then on board with Michael Schumacher for this lap. Long run down towards turn 1 for the 5-time world champion as Alex Young improves through the first sector. Welcome back, Gallifreyan. Heavy on the brakes there from 300 and plus kilometers an hour down to about 100 through this first chicane. Like Nils said, it's very repetitive through this first sector. Very similar kind of corner profiles throughout each and every one of these infield corners in the first half of the lap at least. Very awkward right-hander here. You often find yourself bowling a little bit wide compared to your competitors. If you're not careful, it's a lot slower than you imagine it to be. And I reckon if you probably open that corner up a little bit more, it probably would present better overtaking opportunities into these next couple of corners. 90 right, followed by 2 hairpins, the right and then the left, almost a chicane really, through the first 2 sectors and then into the final sector, where this is where the track really makes its money in terms of it being a spectacle through the banking of turn 1 of the Indianapolis Oval.
I feel like if they get rid of the 180 degrees corners in the last sector, they probably would make up more speed and more overtaking opportunities, as Micah goes 4 fastest overall, with Alonso now set up to complete his next lap. Cross the line and stays 3rd, but wrinkles down the gap to the leaders.
Yeah, that was... it could have been... yeah, I'm not exactly sure, Sampass. Welcome in, Emery, by the way. I don't think I've seen you around before, so welcome in to this. Yeah, so this is a AI F1 Challenge career, which started back in 1998, so we're in 04, which is the 7th season, in which you'll see some interesting names up and down the field compared to real life, at least, such as this man right here, Nicholas Manassian, who's being held up by the Opel, I think, of Timo Glock.
Glock. That's Glock, actually.
Yeah, so Manassian here could be massively hampered on this lap, and he is.
Could still be enough to qualify, currently sitting in 28th. But definitely has hampered his lap time as well, as Friesacher's now also back out on circuit. Do you think IndyCar proves the driver for the revised third sector? If they get rid of the chicane leading up to the turn 13, yes.
Yeah, that
Nothing goes
I don't.
23rd.
Yeah, 23rd place potentially could be knocked out in this session if he is not careful. Button across the line doesn't find an improvement, so he stays in 24th as of right now. Trellier has finished his lap. He's in 25th. Zonta is going out there on circuit. He needs to find half a tenth of a second as Barrichello, we've completely missed it. He's improved on his provisional pole time by an ever so slight margin, but it's still enough to take him even further to the top of the times. And I've got to say, Barrichello in a fantastic position here to take pole position, which I don't think anyone had on their bingo cards.
I mean, I was bashing on him during the opening segment of the stream, so definitely proving me wrong at least.
Coronel finds no time, but a man that we do have to keep focus on is Patrick Friesacher, ever so slightly up through the first sector. He's set a 17.0 as his provisional best, so could potentially see another Jaguar out in this qualifying session, with Cristiano De Mata currently in the drop zone but out there on circuit right now. He needs to find just over a tenth of a second to move ahead of Zonta, but in turn he is also out there looking to try and find an improvement. Trellier could also be in trouble, maybe even Jensen Button, maybe up to maybe even Manassi and Sato Pitsonia could be in trouble if all of these drivers find time on their laps with 7 minutes to go in the session. The Austrian then of Patrick Friesacher enters the final corner. That may be a Minardi that could get in the way before the end of this lap. It should be fine though. And for the Asiatech powered Boutsen across the line, it's an improvement of a tenth of a second, which is not enough to take him outside of the bottom three. Of course, if you don't know how this format works, then the bottom four of this session are knocked out and fail to qualify for the Grand Prix. 26 start the Grand Prix. So, for Ricardo Zonta, he is on the brink right now, just a tenth ahead of the Jaguar of Cristiano De Mata, who is also out there now starting his lap. So I reckon it's probably going to be between the two Brazilians, I would imagine, for that final spot on the grid. Zonta then not improving. Yeah, he is indeed. Raikkonen down in P8 right now, so the McLaren's not showing a good turn for the books right now, being in 4th and 8th right now. Renault and Ferrari seem to have the advantage on them, maybe even Toyota, if you look at where Fisichella and Sperrifico are comparatively. Zonta, though, half a tenth down through the first two sectors, so this could present an opportunity for De Mata if he is improving, and he's not. It's a 23.8 for De Mata through that first sector, so Zonta then up towards the line, and what will this time be for the Brazilian? It's a 16.6, not an improvement, as here is Cristiano De Mata in the Jaguar. Pedro de la Rosa just behind him for company. Hopefully he doesn't hold him up through the second sector, and he's down by a tenth of a second, so he needs to find a worldy amount of time through this last sector, considering how simple it is, and I'm afraid to say I don't know if De Mata is going to be capable of making this work.
Not probably down to his own disabilities, but more down to the disability behind his back, that being the Cosworth engine.
And across the line, De Mata's not done it. 27th place, and unless he's going for another lap in this session, he's not. I think it's going to be another Jaguar knocked out in qualifying here.
Toccacello is rounding out his final flyer probably in this session. Across the line for the Italian.
And finds no improvement. Pantano's done. He can't beat Barrichello, the Brazilian currently on pole position. Yes, it did Auto Expert. Yeah. They did, They
had this first session being on no fuel at all, setting the order for the second session later down the line with full tanks of fuel, at least the race fuel that the teams had to lock in before the start of the qualifying session.
Yeah, if you're on about the aggregate qualifying, that was for 2005. in which I believe Fisichella took the first pole position in that format in Australia. Sato, though, not improving through the first 2 sectors. He's ever so slightly down and could potentially remain in 22nd following this lap. Barrichello still on pole position with 4 minutes to go, but Alonso and Michael Schumacher are out there on circuit and looking to find time. Sato doesn't, as Schumacher begins his, what I assume to be, final lap in the qualifying session, as does Fernando Alonso as he now just crosses the start-finish line.
If I remember correctly, also Renault's the only team to take pole positions in that accurate qualifying system, if I remember correctly, in 2005. So... Actually, no. Never mind, my statement is incorrect. They changed it for Monaco, not for Imola already. So Raikkonen was the only non-Renault to take the pole position during that time frame. But Michael is improving in the first sector.
He needs to find a lot of time, though. He's half a second, or the majority of a half a second down on Rubens Barrichello on his previous best. So he needs to find a lot of time through this next couple of corners. And he's not improving compared to Barrichello.
I feel like realistically only Alonso's in touching distance for the McLaren currently, seeing as the McLaren is lacking a lot of pace currently.
Schumacher then up towards the line. It's a 14.6, which keeps him in 4th position. What about this man then? Fernando Alonso, possibly the only remaining challenger to the top spot in this qualifying session, improving through the second sector. And he fails to improve, so as it currently stands, out of absolutely nowhere, Barrichello's going to be on pole. Trellier improving in his, what I assume to be final lap in the session, 23.8 through the first sector, 31.7 through the second. He's up by half a tenth of a second. Manassian also out there on circuit right now. And he's in clear air, so this should be hopefully a decent improvement for him in this session. His teammate Ralph Furman currently up in 7th place. Welcome in, James. And across the line for Benoit Trellier, and it is remaining to be 25th place in the session. 2 places higher then, Nicolas Manassian, massively out of position if he stays there, but he is on another lap, of course.
That's the second sector lap time, if we would maybe see it. But the best time of each sector still holds Giorgio Pantano in the first 2 and Rubens Barrichello in the last sector. Provisional best time would have been a 1:14.188. So Manassian now across the line to jump up the order to 12th overall. Massively down on his teammate in terms of position.
Yeah, it's not been a good run of form at all for Nicolas Manassian. Other than that second place, it's been fairly anonymous for him this season, and being 3 tenths away from Ralph Furman is going to be quite the headache in terms of in that Dams team. Of course, Nicolas Manassian confirmed to be staying with the team, while Furman is to be dropped and is still without a seat for the 2005 season. Raikkonen out there on circuit, although I think he's just come out the pits and is behind a Boutsen, so even if he was on a push lap, which he is not, he probably would get held up to a degree where he's not going to be challenging for his provisional best. Della Rosa, though, is probably going to be the last one to set a lap time in this session.
Definitely, maybe actually Prix suckers also back out on circuit, looking to maybe find the improvement needed. He would push out his teammate in turn if he goes up to at least 26th, as well as the Mata is also back out on circuit. I don't think the Brazilians, though, going to start another lap time in time. So, once again, one of the Jackers out.
And Della Rosa ever so slightly up through the first sector. His teammate is further back down in 21st position, so he's at least out-qualified his teammate as the checkered flag has now falled. So those drivers currently on a lap, including Frieseke and Della Rosa, will complete these to complete their overall qualifying session, and that's where they'll be starting on the grid. Della Rosa then making his way through the last couple of corners, and across the second sector split now for the Spaniard, and it'll be a slight improvement again through that second sector. Should he be able to hook up this final sector, maybe move ahead of Ralf Schumacher. He has indeed, yes, Joycey. He has been very unlucky with his retirement rate, but as of late, Furman seems to be taking the reins in that Dams team as De La Rosa across the line, and it is not enough to improve ahead of Ralf Schumacher. Barrichello then on pole position for, I believe, the first time in quite a while. I'm not exactly sure when the last time Barrichello actually scored a pole position.
Wait a second.
I think it has to be.
Out.
I don't know if he's actually ever scored a pole position. Thinking about it, let me just. I also just wanted to check.
It was definitely not this season.
No, definitely not. And I don't think it would have been before 2000
maybe. 2001.
Just got to check if there's grid penalties for this weekend.
Didn't Michael get one?
No.
Okay.
That was for the last race weekend.
Looking back at 2001, also Rubens didn't get one there. In 2000, Eddie Irvine got one for Jaguar. I don't think Rubens has a pole position yet.
I think this might be Rubens Barrichello's first pole position ever.
Well,
then.
no, actually, no, it won't be his first because 94 Belgium.
Oh yeah, of course, yes.
But it will be the first one in this universe in terms of when we started.
The first pole position in 10 years then for Rubens Barrichello is what you're telling me, which is maybe the longest gap between pole positions I've ever seen. Rubens Barrichello then, I don't know how he's managed to do it, but he's on pole position ahead of the two Renaults. Pantano then, second place in the championship, second place on the grid. Alonso in third, with Michael Schumacher in fourth place in the qualifying session. Out-qualifies his teammate Kimi Raikkonen. Enrico Torricello again, a decent session for him, albeit half a second away from Barrichello, as the Brazilian seems to be at one with his car, as that is Michael Schumacher off the road and in the wall. Well done for you, mate. Fisichella then starting up in sixth place. A great session for him in that Toyota. Ralf Furman and Kimi Raikkonen, championship leader, down in eighth. Sperrifico and Villeneuve complete the top 10 as the Canadian has out-qualified his Williams teammate for the first time this season. Weber in 11th ahead of the lowly starting position for Manassian, as he is behind his teammate Ralf Furman by 5 places. Montoya, Dixon, Massa, Coronel, Ralf Schumacher, De La Rosa, Wilson and Heidfeld. Wilson and Heidfeld the other way around. So Heidfeld in 19th. Wilson completely in the top 20. Glock, Pitsonia, Sato, Button, Trelli and Zonta make it onto the grid, with Cristiano D'Amata for the second consecutive race and the fourth time overall this season, failing to qualify in that Jaguar alongside the Boutsen of Patrick Friesacker and the two Minardis of Jung and Montero. Join us in a few moments then, where we'll be back for 73 Racing. Join us in a bit. Yeah, we'll be back with the race. I've bottled that completely. Okay, be right back. Okie dokie, we are back for 73 laps of racing action here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 2004 United States Grand Prix. If you missed qualifying, Rubens Barrichello of Ferrari has taken his first pole position since the Belgian Grand Prix of 1994. We've figured it out. So this is his first pole in 10 years, which is something. Yep, I don't think we have ever seen or will ever see something like that again. That would be the equivalent of someone like
Kimi winning in 2013 and then winning again in 2018 at most.
Yeah, but imagine like in this sort of series, right, where you have, say, someone like Felipe Massa taking his first pole position this season, for example, and then getting his second pole position in the hybrid turbo era.
If we ever
Definitely not going that far. Definitely not going that far. I would like to state that I have no intention of going that far deep into an F1 Challenge career mode ever.
The furthest we ever going is probably 2013, and that's also up in the air depending on the mod quality.
So yeah, if you want to then, you've got, well, about 5 minutes until this race starts, so if you want to, be sure to grab yourself a snack and a drink. I've just looked over at how much of my glass of water I have left. I don't have a lot, but it should do. But, however, I will go do something else, so I'll be right back and leave you in the capable hands, I guess, or microphone of Nils.
What do you mean by that, I guess?
I mean, I guess it's no Benny at Malaysia, but yeah.
Oh yeah, oh god.
That was a drift. I just realised how close they're going to be starting to the wall there. Okay, I'll be right back.
So, okay, what if you do... Kept the current chassis with... No, actually, no. 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 That's kind of random stat that would trip up people and go down the line. Yeah, well, definitely. We're going to say we will see a first-time winner this season. Let me look who would be eligible in terms of first-time winners. Probably if everything goes according to plan, maybe Tococello could take a first victory.
I reckon
Other than that... Oh! Other than that, it would be Furman or like Manasian, seeing how the dams has been upgraded.
Whoa! Oh! Hello. It's fine.
Good thing there's no damage on the lap to the grids.
Yeah, there's no damage on the lap to the grid, so it should all be fine. Although that Ferrari is okay. Yep, sure. Yeah, don't mind that. Barrichello then making his way to his pole position slot. No drivers disqualified from qualifying, by the way, so it's... who was it? Friesaka, D'Amata, Young and Montero failing to qualify today.
I'm new to this. What are the difference to IL here? What are the new teams and drivers? Well, I don't think we have the time to go through all of them, essentially what happened here.
So Ferrari is Trulli and Barrichello, but Trulli is injured, so Tococello, who is the test and reserve driver down at Ferrari in this universe, is in place of him. Renault is Pantano and Alonso, Michael Schumacher and Kimi Raikkonen down at McLaren, Fisichella Speraffico at Toyota, Furman and Manasium are at Dams, who bought out Jordan at the back end of 2001, Webber and Massa are at Red Bull, who took a 75% stake of Sauber late last season, so this is Red Bull's first season rather than 2005, BAR and... BAR had Coulthard and Weldon at the start of the season. Weldon was sacked. Coulthard got injured, so it's Coronel and Dixon currently there. At the start of the season for Williams, it was Montoya and Alexander Wirtz. Alexander Wirtz is a 2001 world champion in this series. However, Wirtz had a big crash down at France in the French Grand Prix in qualifying. So that is, yeah, don't don't mind that at the back of the field. That's just it'll all be sorted by the start of the race, so it'll be fine. So Williams had Wirtz and Montoya. Wirtz got injured, so Genet came in, underperformed, and now Villeneuve is in the second seat alongside Montoya at Williams, and this is the first time this season that Villeneuve has out-qualified Montoya this season. Further back at Honda, who have been on the grid since 2000, have Ralf Schumacher, who is the reigning world champion, and Takuma Sato. Then we have Jaguar, which is Jenson Button and Cristiano D'Amata. D'Amata in particular failed to qualify for the 4th time this season. So we've got 30 cars on the grid. Minardi have currently got Young and Montero. Boots and Energy Racing, a custom team, is Zonta and Friesacker. Rose Toyota, a custom team. Benoit Trellier and Justin Wilson. Opel, a custom team. De La Rosa and Timo Glock. Brabham, a custom team. Nick Heidfeld and Antonio Pitsonia, and that's all the 30 drivers and teams and all that. In other news, Let's Go Racing, 73 laps ahead of the drivers, and with 6 rounds to go, could be anyone's guess with Barrichello on pole position. Without further ado then, let's get into it.
Hello there. Welcome to the United States of America. The weather, as so often is the case here, is just wonderful. Rubens Barrichello first. Giorgio Pantano second. Fernando Alonso third. The McLaren driver put on a fantastic display throughout the qualifying hour. He starts this race from a very promising 4th.
Enrico Toccacello
5th. Fisichella 6th. Ralf Furman 7th. Raikkonen couldn't quite match the pace of his teammate. He starts 8th.
Riccardo Sperafico
9th. Jacques Villeneuve 10th. Webber 11th.
Nicolas Menassiron
12th. Montoya 13th.
Scott Dixon.
14th. Massa 15th. 16th. Ralf Schumacher 17th. Pedro de la Rosa 18th. Nick Heidfeld 19th. Justin Wilson 20th. Timo 21st. Antonio Pitsonia 22nd. Sato 23rd. Jenson Button 24th.
And with Trellier and Zonta on the back row of the grid, without further ado then, for the first time in 2 seasons, it's time to go racing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 26 drivers on the grid, and the lights go green. There's racing to be seen. I think there's a staller. Alonso stalled at the start, and he's going to hold up quite a number of drivers as they head towards turn 1. Barrichello with the advantage then in towards the first corner, and there it is, Alonso, the first retirement of this Grand Prix, as his teammate goes looking towards the inside of Rubens Barrichello. Slips a bit on the curb, and as such loses a bit of ground to the Brazilian, who currently still leads this race. Michael Schumacher in 3rd, as Fisichella and Ralf Furman jump up places ahead of Enrico Toccacello, who's fallen from 5th to 6th on the start. Raikkonen and Villeneuve complete the points.
Stella Rosa had a good start. He's up into 11th. Menassian also getting past Sperafico in the meantime. Alonso effectively clocking out early in his quest to maybe get back into the championship fight. Raikkonen in the meantime looking for a move maybe on Toccacello, does not, actually goes for it. Maybe around the outside here through that right-hander, setting up for the right left-hander there, and does not get the job done. I think Montoya lost a lot of positions off the start, 2 actually, as De La Rosa made up 7 in total.
So the end of the first lap then sees Rubens Barrichello still leading at the front, ahead of Giorgio Pantano in second position. Michael Schumacher, though, closing into the Renault in second position. Giancarlo Fisichella with a fantastic start, as well as Ralph Furman. Those two are both up 2 places. Pedro de la Rosa, though, the biggest gainer out of all the field. He's up from 18th to 11th on the start, and once more, a fantastic start to his race. Manassian has gone past Jacques Villeneuve in the background there as he moves up into the points-paying position. So, Nicolas Manassian has had to do it the hard way. He's overtaken 2 drivers rather than on the starts. He's actually made on-track overtakes to get ahead, as Enrico Torricello, you can already see, is massively holding up a lot of the field.
And
Raikkonen up the inside. Yeah, Raikkonen up the inside, and the championship leader, yet to win a race this season, moves up into 6th position. Can now set his sights on trying to catch Ralph Furman for 5th. Nicolas Manassian up next, and the Ferrari looks very heavily fueled, you can already tell, and he goes soaring up the inside. That's a simple move. Yes, so Torricello now into the final points position, and has Jacques Villeneuve all over the back of him.
Whatever Ferrari put in that car is heavy as hell currently, as Torricello probably is fueled up for one stop, but around a circuit like this where you have to get the momentum could leave him vulnerable to the drivers behind.
Pantano sets the fastest lap of the race of a 1:18.2, so he's sticking with Barrichello at the front of the field. He's half a second behind as Riccardo Sperrifico looking for a move on the Williams of Jacques Villeneuve into the first corner. The Toyota power certainly sending him closer to the Williams BMW, but will not be enough. There up the inside, though, goes Pedro de la Rosa on Scott Dixon. Can't quite make the move, though. The downforce expertise of that BAR keeping the New Zealander in front. Yeah, Villeneuve's got ahead now of Torricello, so Torricello falling down the order like a stone right now.
Quite questionable tactics by Ferrari, putting Torricello on that heavy of a fuel as Pantano and Michael are also looking on the back of Barrichello. Pantano actually making a move, or trying to make a move there. So Raikkonen got past Furman in the background for 5th.
So Furman falling down another place at the start of this race, or rather just one place, as he will now be, well, still ahead of Torricello, of course, as Montoya is dropping down the order like a stone. I don't know what's happened to him in this race, but he's down to 18th position and behind Ralf Schumacher. So maybe he could be another driver that's on a very heavy fuel load, as here is Pedro de la Rosa looking to take advantage here of the straight line speed of this Opel. Raikkonen then setting the fastest lap.
Now look how easy it will be for Pedro de la Rosa to get past at the end of the straight. There we go. Warp drive initiated, and there we go. Easy move there by De La Rosa at the end, as Sperrifico now pushes himself through on Torricello as well.
This could potentially be tactics from Ferrari. If Barrichello's going for an early pit stop, then he could come out in ahead of the majority of the midfield if Torricello can do a good job of holding up the field. But of course, a lot of long straights down here, down these straights, means that Torricello is falling back, position after position, lap after lap. Barrichello, though, only just holding on ahead of both Pantano, Schumacher, and now Raikkonen, who's now jumped ahead of Giancarlo Fisichella. He made a move in towards the first corner, and now he's on the back of his teammate.
Barrichello looks to be heavy as well, considering that he had a lot more pace during qualifying. Maybe Ferrari gambled on the longer first stint, as Torricello is now under threat by Pedro de la Rosa, and probably De La Rosa will get the Ferrari on the straight as well, if not even before the straight, out of this twisty bit. Raikkonen now sets the fastest lap of the race, a 16.8.
And here comes De La Rosa then in that Opel, renowned for being fast in a straight line, as Manassian overtakes his teammate Ralf Furman. Here goes De La Rosa making his way up into the top 10. Easy meet for the Spaniard, and now Torricello falls outside the top 10. So Torricello has fallen from 5th to 11th in 4 laps. I don't know how far he's going to fall in this race, but he needs to find some pace, even with the heavy fuel load in that car. He's already 16 seconds off his teammate for the race lead. He's running about 4 seconds off the rest of the field, as Pantano going for an alternative line there through the middle sector.
I feel like the quite heavy. The fuel loads is quite evident currently for the Ferraris because there is a massive train also now forming behind Barrichello slowly, as Dixon also got past Tocacello now. Same with Pizzonia dropping Montoya to 21st, Trollier up to 18th as Ralph lost another position.
Montoya is now under pressure from Tom Coronel in the BAR, so Montoya has only got 3 cars behind him. Button currently last of the order somehow, as Zonta has moved ahead of both the Jaguar and the Honda of Takuma Sato. Of course, in real life, Sato got a podium here. I don't think he's going to be able to emulate his real-life heroics around this circuit today, as Giorgio Pantano really struggling to find an entryway into this race lead ahead of Rubens Barrichello. But as it currently stands, Barrichello doing a good job in holding off the remainder of the field, and of course if he is on a heavier fuel load compared to his rivals, then this is working out handsomely for the Brazilian to potentially take victory today.
As it seems that the Ferrari has an edge, or at least on the main straight, to compare to the drivers behind. In the meantime, De La Rosa has made a move on Sparrofico successfully, as Pantano once again looks down around the outside, but not close enough or not far ahead enough to make that one count against the Brazilian.
And of course, if Pantano makes too much of an effort to get past Rubens Barrichello, slows them both up to the point where Michael Schumacher could potentially enter the fray in overtaking the pair of them for the race lead, it could end up being another race where we see Michael Schumacher shoot off into the distance. So this is a very fast-paced game of chess that we are seeing being played by Giorgio Pantano here, currently in second place, as he is currently 4 tenths behind Rubens Barrichello. It's quite strange to see that the Renault is faster down the speed traps, but the exits out of turns 12 and 13 not seemingly anywhere near as good as what Rubens Barrichello is capable in that Ferrari.
Usually it's the other way around, with the Ferrari being the faster in the speed traps compared to the Renault, then through the corners, as Webber now gets past Tocacello as well.
Furman's just re-overtaken Nicolas Manassi here in the battle between the two dams for 6th and 7th. The Jacques Villeneuve, as there goes Manassi and clean around the outside of his teammates. A fantastic move there from the Frenchman, as he sends his Irish teammates further down the order and under the pressure now of 1997 champion Jacques Villeneuve.
As Furman gets past again, Villeneuve now looks for the opportunity as well, gets past both of them in the meantime. So up to 6th, the former world champion.
Well, we'll get a replay of that battle. I'm not exactly sure what's happening with the dams. I'm hoping that it's not a problem with the team orders in this game, considering they're both number ones. So there goes Manassi straight round the outside. And then you look at Jacques Villeneuve getting past not just one, but 2 dams into this 90 left and moving up into 6th position in this race. And maybe now for the Canadian, he can go racing after the top 5.
So at the front, it's still quite stationary in terms of who makes positions, as Sparrofico and Dixon are going to battle. I feel like this one is more down to the strategy at the end. Raikkonen looking for a move on his teammate, who covers it off.
Michael just on a watching brief here, waiting for that opportunity where Pantano sends it in just a little bit too much for his own liking, and could probably jump ahead of the Renault in that sort of battle, unless Barrichello can hold him off to such a point where Schumacher should be able to just sneak on through, maybe potentially into the race lead. But as it currently stands, it's all stagnant between the top 4. Behind, though, De La Rosa with a bit of a train occurring behind him. We've seen it often in this season, where the Opel fast in a straight line, unable to be overtaken, but pretty dismal through the corners, means that he is able to just hold on to his positions, that you probably say he's a bit higher than what was expected from the Opel team. He's in 9th place right now.
I mean, Manassi in the meantime once again gets past his teammate, but like this battle here at least is down to whoever gets past Pedro de la Rosa first and gets away from the Opel. Mark Webber now around the outside. Maybe he can make a move stick. Actually, he will. So whips past down the inside and now up into 11th.
And you were saying how that double hairpin struggles to create overtaking opportunities. Well, it certainly has done for Mark Webber as he moves up into 11th. Next target on his list is Riccardo Speraffico, and I've just realised we've got an Opel, a Toyota and a Red Bull all in a line, which, if you don't know, these are probably the 3 fastest cars in a straight line, so this is probably going to be a stalemate between these 3 for quite a while in this race, as there goes Speraffico looking towards the inside of Della Rosa. Switches to the outside though, can't quite find the grip on the marbles on the outside of turn 2 to make his way ahead of De La Rosa and into 9th position.
Meantime, there's another, like, slowly train forming behind Toccocello, who's not keeping up with the 3 in front of him, or 4 in front of him.
Seems that Manassian has been released from the shackles of his teammates and can now go re-challenge Jacques Villeneuve for that 6th position in this race. I hope.
We hope.
Drive away, please.
Get away. As Glock now gets past Felipe Massa, who is now said to be the next driver to get past Enrico Toccocello.
Yeah, Toccocello's stopped falling down the order a little bit. He's now found his way into 13th. Montoya, though, is down in 23rd as of right now, as Zonta has made up a couple more places. He's now in the top 20, so he's made a good start to this Grand Prix. Could potentially be on a 3-stop strategy, though, with that sort of pace. Here is Timo Glock, then.
Wave as he goes past. There we go. Bit harder than compared to the BAR. Actually, Toccocello, though, quite early on the brakes, does not want to fight this one as Furman gets past Minardi.
Oh, no.
It's the Williams problem once again.
It is indeed. As there goes Raikkonen looking towards the inside of Michael Schumacher. The 2 silver arrows battling here through the 2 hairpins. Schumacher's going to push his teammate out to the curb there, and the Finn is going to have to settle for 4th place. The championship leader will not be very pleased with that one.
I feel like Raikkonen tries to get Michael to get a move on Pantano, essentially, signaling that he's quicker currently in this race. He now gets the slipstream of his teammates.
Oh, he's slowing down? I don't know what's just happened there.
Yeah, because he moved out it. Oh.
Scott Dixon has just been overtaken now by Timo Glock, who is now up into 12th position. And now the 3 fastest cars in Formula 1 in a straight line now become the 4 fastest cars in Formula 1 in a straight line. So this will be interesting to see. Of course, for Mark Webber, he's in that Red Bull, very skatey on the rear end. You could see how much he's actually struggling to get through that last corner. And here he goes, potentially on Riccardo Speraffico. He, in turn, is going to defend that late in towards turn 1. He's going to hold off Mark Webber for now. So it's very much a stalemate between Speraffico, Della Rosa and Mark Webber as it currently stands. Towards the back of the field, though, we see Ralf Schumacher holding off Tom Coronel. He's down in 22nd place right now, ahead of Montoya, Sato and Button only. The 2 Hondas, I've got to say, are really struggling now at the back of the field, as a lot of the newer teams that showed up for the 2003 season seem to be now ahead of the Honda, as Manassian is now once again back ahead of Ralf Furman.
With the Acer Tech engine in the back of the boots, and it's quite surprising, seeing as the Honda has more power. But Zonta doing a great job currently keeping behind the current world champion and Juan Pablo Montoya, who's now... What has happened here? I feel like one driver spun, maybe.
No, I think it was just a concertina effect. Basically, the pace that is Pedro de la Rosa right now, he's holding up absolutely everyone.
Everyone!
And Toccocello as well is pretty slow, so I feel like Toccocello's got to be probably one of the slowest drivers out there on circuit right now, but he's definitely surely got to be going long in this race. I don't know how this is going to work out for him, considering he is now 13 seconds off the points.
He has to find somewhat in his seconds, then maybe goes like to lap 60 or something on his fuel loads.
At the front of the field, Schumacher's challenging Pantano, so he is responding to his teammate's challenge, and the Italian is now feeling the pressure from the 5-time world champion.
Meantime, Speraffico has gotten past Pedro de la Rosa. So one driver has gotten past the blockage of the Opel.
Seems that Michael Schumacher does not have the legs to try and challenge Giorgio Pantano in towards the first corner. Even though Michael will brake later, Pantano will go defensive in towards turn 1 and keep that position for now. Fisichella kind of running on his own at this moment. Let's see what the lap comparative is with Jacques Villeneuve. He is running half a second faster than the Toyota currently, so freeing himself from the battle of the two dams means that Jacques Villeneuve is being able to now catch up to Fisichella for fifth place in this race.
I feel like we've seen what is quite evident across the whole season. When first someone gets past the Opels, they are usually away. Sparrow-Fico finally got past De La Rosa and now has gotten a healthier gap to the Spaniard as Raikkonen finally gets past his teammate. We got some changes at the front.
So Raikkonen is sick of sitting behind his teammate at this stage of the race and has taken action into his own hands. He's now up into third position, and as it currently stands, the gap between Giorgio Pantano and Kimi Raikkonen would be reduced to 5 points in the World Drivers' Championship with 5 rounds to go after this one.
Raikkonen can make a move down the inside soon on Pantano.
I believe that there is panels on this car.
Is there?
There's
a Lola.
Is it there?
Well,
I can't actually see it. Here goes Furman, trying to be attacked by his teammate Nicolas Benassi, and as I'm looking at the livery, up the inside for the Frenchman. And he makes his way up into P7 once more.
Michael now once again looks for a move on Raikkonen as De La Rosa can pass Sparrow-Fico again.
I will say the silver stripes on the dams are the panel's colours, so there is that as well. So.
Massa has finally gotten past Toccarcello as well, as Pantano was looking for a move there on Barrichello into turn 12.
Seems that Barrichello has got the advantage, though, in the places that matter around this Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're 14 laps into a 73-lap race, so we're about 20% of the way through, and Barrichello leads ahead of Giorgio Pantano. Michael Schumacher up to third once more ahead of Raikkonen, who currently holds the fastest lap of the race. Fisichella in fifth, slowly being caught up by Jacques Villeneuve. Yep, Wilson is now up into 15th.
A sentence that I would have never thought I would usher, that a Rose Motorsport car got past a Ferrari on pure pace, as Button has gotten past Coronel and Sato in one move.
Next for him on the agenda is the Williams of Juan Pablo Montoya, is also having a dreadful race so far. He qualified fairly down the order, down in 13th, but since then he's just been shuffled down the order. You'd expect that in these long trains that Montoya would probably be the aggressor to make overtakes, but it certainly has not been the case at all. Alonso stalled on the grid, Benny, so he is the only retirement so far from this Grand Prix.
Sparrow-Fico now looks to defend and get back on the offensive against the Spaniard.
So yeah, the poor form for recently Fernando Alonso seems to be continuing with a failure to finish here today. Well, at the start of the race, so it's almost a failure to start the Grand Prix, essentially. As here goes Timo Glock looking towards the outside of the lead Red Bull of Mark Webber. I think he's going to be able to make it, you know, switching it to the inside. And there you go, Timo Glock now up into 11th place. And the two Opels looking very strong.
And Enrico Toccarcello is down to 18th. So whatever Ferrari is trying to establish with his strategy is not working at all.
Timo Glock looking for two moves in a single lap here, as he's now all over the back of the Toyota Riccardo Sparrow-Fico. And the slight advantage that the Toyota does not have over the Opel is what is going to lead to its downfall, with now both Opels inside the top 10. I don't think we've ever seen this yet.
actually we did in Bahrain, I think, for a time being, and that was probably the worst thing that every driver behind had, as Ralf Schumacher and I think Benoit Trollier are set to pit at the end of this lap, so early stops for them. As Pizzoni now got past Toccocello as well. Two train masters, essentially.
Raikkonen is running third. Is right in front of you.
Did Raikkonen get past Michael again and we didn't see that?
Potentially. Raikkonen's past
Raikkonen actually got
Pantano.
past Pantano!
Okay, so the McLaren man, the championship leader, is up to second place. Giorgio Pantano, with no response clearly to the Finn, is now all over the back of Rubens Barrichello for the race lead.
I feel like there's a caveat to that story. Raikkonen has gotten the call to pit, so this could be down to him being lighter on fuel. Maybe wants to get out of this traffic here to set some laps on his own, maybe establish his pace.
As we got the first drivers into the pits on their scheduled laps, lap 16 for Benoit Trellier, and I think a Honda, yes, of Ralf Schumacher is going to be into the box, so those two potentially could go a lap down in this Grand Prix. Let's take a replay then of how Kimi Raikkonen got past Giorgio Pantano's McLaren already in the pits.
Simply try to outdrag him. Pantano tried to close the gap, but Raikkonen just way later on the brakes and takes the position of the Italian. Now is heading into the pit still, so all the work essentially for nothing, but Raikkonen has somewhat got pace and he probably will come out ahead of at least Minardi, which is quite important for the Finn in his championship quest.
So Pantano up to second, Schumacher up to third. I imagine that Fisichella will be up to fourth, as Trellier and Ralf Schumacher both had 8-second pit stops. Raikkonen a second faster on his stop, as I think the Boutsen crew could potentially be ready to serve a driver in the pit lane. And your guess of him coming out ahead of Minardi could be way higher than that. It could be even ahead of Giancarlo Fisichella out the pit lane. And it is indeed fourth position then on the rejoin for the Finn.
Energy Racing.
So depending on how heavy he is compared to Fisichella, he could pull away, and he has a massive gap before ahead of him, and could set some good lap times, and maybe jump one or two drivers. As Montoya now got past Toccocello as well, so the both slow and heavy cars are battling on track.
Galactic Stag, that probably wouldn't happen because for next season Williams lose their BMW works backing and instead it's moving over to Dams as Zonta is another driver into the pit lane. Mark Webber has overtaken Pedro De La Rosa for P10 in this race, so the Australian back up into the top 10. He's also had to dispatch of Riccardo Sperrifico, so a couple of difficult overtakes there for Mark Webber, and now he's on the back of Timo Glock, who is currently in 9th position in this race. Scott Dixon also in this race, in this battle, but being the slowest car in a straight line is probably not going to help him. Yes, Schumacher is up into 2nd position in this race. I imagine that was a move down in towards the first corner. And now Schumacher. Yeah, so maybe Schumacher can now go and challenge after Rubens Barrichello.
We are approaching Riccardo Zonta, who's being about to be lapped. Michael has dropped Pantano. Pantano was really slow at the moment.
Could he potentially be on a heavier fuel load than anyone else in that leading pack? You maybe could assume that, but we'll have to wait and see how this race plays out. Villeneuve, though, now to within 2.5 seconds of Giancarlo Fisichella.
Spitzonia's also into the pits now. Massa now got past Justin Wilson for 14th. And now the lap traffic is already happening in this one.
And this is going to harm Pantano quite a bit through the final corner. He's going to lose tabs with the race leaders here. As Justin Wilson has, I think, just... I don't know what's happened to him, actually. I don't know what is...
He has been overtaken by Massa, but lost a lot of time during that.
I think Minardi is going to be into the box here on the end of lap 19.
Also, if we saw Hungary already, Pitsonia is now ahead of Rubens Barrichello and Michael Schumacher on track. The Brazilian coming out of his pit stop ahead of the two. If you remember Hungary, he was quite remembered for what he did on circuit in terms of blocking.
Manassin would probably prefer if this stop is as long as possible, so he doesn't have to be really dealing with traffic. An 8.8 second stop, though, is probably going to fetch him out in the realms of Enrico Toccacello.
He's in this battle, which is not good for him.
He's just in front of Enrico Toccacello, though, in the Ferrari, and as such rejoins down in 17th. So he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to overtake all these cars. Sato into the box. So both Hondas looking like they're on a potential three-stop strategy.
Michael now the fast lap.
Yes, so depending on how... well, we saw how much the Hondas fell back at the start, as there goes Pitsonia for some reason, looking for a move on Giorgio Pantano. Could be potentially curtains for any form of a decent result for Honda today.
Dark Lord Rice.
Yeah, and of course Manassian into the box now promotes Timo Glock up into the top 8 in this race. Albeit he has got quite a number of cars directly behind him.
Will also be interesting to see how long the Opels are fueled up to in terms of lap time. Maybe they are quite heavy as well, signifying their lack of speed. Spellman is also ahead of the drivers there, as Pantano is scheduled to pit.
And I've got to say, that was a brilliant move from Webber there. It looked like there was absolutely no chance he was going to be able to send it from that far back, but he's made the place up into 8th position. So the Australian now into the points. It's Pantano into the box. Surprisingly early, you just said.
And I have to say, Kimi did a fantastic stop on his 3 laps on his new set of tires. He's in the shot for jumping Pantano, especially with this longer stop for the Italian.
And Raikkonen, yes, so Raikkonen up into 3rd position. Fisichella will remain behind, but Pantano has been jumped significantly by Kimi Raikkonen. But could we suggest potentially on lap 21 of 73 an early 2-stop potentially?
Maybe, but that would just signify the lack of pace of him as well compared to Michael and Barrichello. Because those two look to be on the league of their own this time around. As Villeneuve is only 2 tenths behind Fisichella as well for 5th currently.
Schumacher's going to be into the box at the end of this lap, as there goes Villeneuve looking towards the outside, through the middle sector, and I don't think we see moves often on the inside of that corner, never mind to the outside, as Fisichella looks to fend back through on the Canadian, but the 1997 champion is up into 5th position, as there goes Michael Schumacher into the box. So Barrichello, as I predicted, the heaviest of the 4 drivers off that race start, and I've got to say, as it currently stands, I don't see anyone beating Barrichello.
Raikkonen could potentially actually jump Michael, as the stop was not that short as expected, and Raikkonen is indeed in 2nd now. So fantastic job by the Finn on his undercut.
Once again, it could be a potential 3-stop versus 2-stop for Schumacher and Pantano in this race, and if that is the case, then Raikkonen has to get his foot down and go chasing after Rubens Barrichello in this race.
In the meantime, if the pace deficit of Toccacello's first 1 stop is not quite evident already, he has been overtaken by a Jaguar.
Yeah, it seems that Toccacello has not got around this heavy fuel load that the Ferrari has, but I've got to say Montoya is doing a good job, as De La Rosa has now overtaken Ralph Furman in this race. I think Furman has... No, Furman can't have pit.
No, he's still on his first fuel load.
I think that's surprising then, that De La Rosa has been able to outpace, catch up, and overtake Ralph Furman then, who is very much a faster car through the corners.
overtaking is the easier part for the Opels. Usually it's the other way around. Catching up is the easier part. Pantano's under huge threat from behind.
Yeah, the heavy fuel load not giving Giorgio Pantano any favours here, as there is Villeneuve and Giancarlo Fisichella, looking to potentially pounce on a potential 4th place in this Grand Prix. Villeneuve looking towards the inside, but can't find his way through on the Italian Renault driver.
Villeneuve could be on course if the fuel load is anything to go by. Actually on course for potential top 4 position.
Jenson Button's going to be into the pits at the end of this lap, as is Rubens Barrichello. I was almost certain that it was not going to be Toccarello, considering. Webber has just gone past Ralph Furman as well, so Furman dropping like a stone with Rubens Barrichello, race leader, into the box.
Raikkonen is close enough to potentially jump the Ferrari. There's also BAR already in the pits. The lead Ferrari in this race on his marks. Needs like a 7.5 stop in order to keep ahead of Raikkonen. And it's a long one. So Raikkonen will take the lead, probably.
He will indeed. Raikkonen up into 1st place in this Grand Prix.
Michael as well.
And Barrichello is going to rejoin in 3rd place, fortunately for him, at least ahead of Sato, as there is all change further back. Webber has now overtaken both Opels, as De La Rosa has now overtaken his teammate with one of the Opels into the box at the end of this lap. Fisichella, meanwhile, has overtaken Jacques Villeneuve for 5th. And he's going to be Glock into the box at the end of this lap.
Releases everybody behind, essentially, from the wraps of the Opels.
Manassian's just been overtaken by Tom Coronel for 17th in this race.
My fellow's looking for a move there on Montoya. He gets it.
Gets the move done. Montoya's having a torrid time of it this weekend. He's down in 15th position in this race, even with a lot of the drivers around him already making pit stops.
And I have to say, we have 25 laps in, and currently, probably I will jinx it now, Alonso's the only retirement in this race.
Yeah, we are a third of the way through, or well over a third of the way through at this point of the race. No, we're not. Yeah, we are. We're well over a third of the way through, yes.
As Michael now sets the fastest lap of the race on a heavier fuel load, so the McLarens seemingly have more pace than Ferrari in clean air.
There goes Fisichella. The lighter fuel load of the Toyota certainly helping him in this second stage of the race. Fisichella very clearly putting... teaching Pantano a lesson, I should say, in how to do a strategy. It seems that Fisichella is going much longer than Pantano in this first stint at least, but I imagine that Fisichella will almost definitely be boxing before Pantano does for the second stops in this race, or the second stop for Pantano, the first for Fisichella, if that makes sense. For Mark Webber then, he's going to rejoin in a lowly position of 18th place, potentially even 19th, as he was previously battling with Timo Glock. There is the Opel on the right hand side of your picture, and the Australian has got the jump. So, crucially for him, he needs to try and pull away from the German if he wants to remain, without battling.
Problem for Wilson.
Justin Wilson out the race then. He's already blown up one engine this weekend. He had a crash in practice, and his race comes to an end on lap 26. So thanks for cursing it, Nils, as he becomes the second retirement of this race.
In the meantime, Raikkonen and Michael are getting away from Barrichello, and already 4-second gap between the McLarens and the Ferrari. So maybe the lighter fuel load, now with cleaner air between the two of them, could help the McLaren duo.
Dixon into the points then from the fringes of the top 10, as Michael Schumacher is putting momentous pressure on his teammate Kimi Raikkonen for the race lead.
I have to say, the Ferrari does not look good on a fresher rubber in terms of lap time currently.
And if my predictions were correct on Raikkonen doing a 3 and Schumacher and Pantano both doing 2 stops, then potentially this could be Michael Schumacher's race to lose if he can jump ahead of his teammate Raikkonen and then pull away from Barrichello, which could also be doing a 2 stop in this race. Most certainly not doing a 1 stop, considering we're nowhere near half race distance. We are on lap 28 of 73, so 45 laps still remaining to go, and Raikkonen leads ahead of Michael Schumacher. Rubens Barrichello is in third with Fisichella, Pantano and Villeneuve all nose to tail in that battle between 4th and 6th. De La Rosa and Furman complete the points with Sparaffico just behind the dams and may have a run in towards the first corner. We'll have keep on board with him as Massa completes the top 10. Heidfeld, Montoya, Manassi and Coronel, Toccocello in that Ferrari, the very heavy Ferrari that we've seen in this race, just ahead of Timo Glock there. Webber, Dixon, Ralf Schumacher, Antonio Pizzonia are in the top 20, with Trellier, Button, Zonta, Sato completing those who are still in the race. 2 retirements so far. Justin Wilson with an engine failure and Alonso stalled on the grid.
And Barrichello is losing a lot, even more time now. He's nearly 6 seconds behind. Actually, that's Michael Schumacher, and 6.8 seconds behind Raikkonen at the moment. So, if the McLarens keep that pace up, they might jump Barrichello in the second pit stop phase.
I'm sure that any cash that Nils could get for his team for next season, it would be greatly wanted by him.
Go on. I take the payment through PayPal.
Pantano staying with Giancarlo Fisichella after the Toyota made that pass. Fisichella currently the leader of those that has not made a stop in this Grand Prix. Villeneuve, De La Rosa, Furman, Sparaffico, Massa and Heidfeld and Montoya have also not made stops so far in this race, as there goes Pantano looking towards the inside. Still can't find his way through.
In the meantime, Villeneuve has scheduled his first pit stop around the 30 lap mark. Could be a heavy 1 stop if he commits to it, but would not be advised. As Pantano looks for any wave past.
Oh, and that's a collision there
gets
between...
a bit sideways there.
Yeah, that was a collision between him and Jacques Villeneuve there, just cutting across the front of the nose of that Canadian. Of the Canadian, I should say, as he is going to be into the box, Jacques Villeneuve, on the end of lap 29. So,
in the meantime, Heidfeld has gotten past Felipe Massa for 10th.
he has indeed. Heidfeld with an underrated drive so far as he pushes on into the top 10. Furman and Sparaffico both stuck behind Pedro de la Rosa. This could allow Jacques Villeneuve to still rejoin in 6th position in this race. The gap was about 30 seconds between him and the Spaniard before making his way into the stop, and if this one is fast enough, then it could definitely be Villeneuve still in 6th, a 9.3 second stop, and I still think it's going to be a lot of seconds in hand over the Spaniard.
They are coming through the banking there now, so he has around like 6 to 8 seconds in hand over them.
Galactic, I do not make videos on these. I just make live streams on them like this. So if you look in the live section rather than the videos section on the channel, then you should be able to find all the races so far this season. I didn't previously video document them before, well, between 98 and 03. I used to do that more privately, but I just felt like streaming these every Sunday. And people seem to enjoy it, so.
Oh, God.
As there is a barrage of lap cars for the McLarens to get through here.
Furman now got past Pedro de la Rosa as well for 7th.
And on lap 31, Raikkonen really getting held up here by one of the Hondas. I suspect this to be Ralf Schumacher, who is in 19th place right now.
And all of them are stuck behind Timo Glock again.
As big news, Pizzonia has overtaken Trellier for 20th place in this race. That's going to be devastating for the championship, clearly, as Montoya has re-overtaken Nick Heidfeld for 11th place in this race. Heidfeld, though, with the Mercedes engine, the same one that's in the McLaren, and it should have a pace advantage over the Williams BMW in a straight line. You can see the difference in pace as they make their way through the last corner. And looking towards the inside is Nick Heidfeld, and Montoya with absolutely no response down the long straight. And there goes Heidfeld up the inside. Montoya's going to hang it around the outside, though, with the superior downforce of that Williams and staying ahead of the Brabham. So that was a brilliant piece of defending, actually, from Montoya to stay up in 11th place.
You're running second.
Meantime, this battle is heating up even further, with De La Rosa now possibly making a move down here because of the superior top speed, and does so on Furman. All this is what this is doing, depending on how long those three drivers are going into this race, is allowing Montoya maybe to jump them in the pit stop phase.
It is indeed. With how late Montoya should be boxing for how heavy his car is, as is Tocciello, but is probably out of contention for points at this current stage of the race. You could probably still put in a thought for Montoya to potentially still get points in this race, as there's Schumacher nearly coming to a stop through the first of the two hairpins. Gallifreyan, what kind of roast is it today? What meat are we cooking today?
Which teams will try no rear wing? None, because it's outlawed by the FIA.
Yeah, this is not like 1970.
They didn't even try it then anymore because of the significance of the downforce.
Fair, yeah.
You're running second.
Raikkonen then has managed to bolster his lead at the front of the field through the lap traffic, and Barrichello now joins the back of this train. And I've got to say, Barrichello has probably got his work cut out for him. If he is on a stop less than Schumacher, this still could be tricky for him to take the race victory. But as it currently stands, if they're both on two-stop strategies like I imagine they both are, then Schumacher almost certainly should have this one in the bag if Raikkonen is also on a three-stop. We've got chicken thighs seasoned with garlic and parsley. Nice. Good stuff.
Nice. So there goes the first lap traffic.
I'm now hungry now,
Already.
god damn it.
Yeah, same. As Ferrari's, the Ferrari of Barrichello is now in the same predicament of the McLarens earlier. As Pitsonia now got past Mark Webber as well.
Heidfeld and Montoya still doing battle in that position for 11th place in this race. They're both caught up to the back of Felipe Massa in the Red Bull.
Michael sets another fastest lap.
And once again, he's all over the back of his teammate Kimi Raikkonen.
But seeing how Michael sets fastest lap after fastest lap, this could suggest that they maybe fueled Mike a bit longer and maybe did a shorter middle stint to maybe jump ahead of Barrichello.
Well, the
So
pace
maybe both
difference, I think, that shifted between Schumacher and then Raikkonen and Barrichello on the other side, I think probably presents that Schumacher is going to try and undercut his teammate, although probably was attempting to try and at least overcut everyone, then push on in front at the front of the field, and then just try and surmount the gap with the undercut. As that is Tom Coronel that's going to be into the box. Meanwhile, for Tocciello, he's about to get lapped, so the challenge for him to get points, or his first points of his Formula 1 career, is probably about to get about 10 times as difficult. And with this imagining to probably be Enrico Tocciello's last race before Jarno Trulli's return, I imagine that this is probably going to be a pointless season, at least in this stint, with the Ferrari team for the Italian.
Montoya has been passed once again, and Tocciello makes a move. He finally made an overtake.
For the first time in 35 laps, Enrico Tocciello has made an overtake in this Grand Prix. It's for 13th position in...
Tom Coronel is actually on a one-stop. He's fueled up to the end on this one.
But the problem is for him that he is down in 21st position. So, granted, he's on a one-stop and does not need to pit again, but he's already 14 seconds off Benoit Trellier, the car in front. So, the best part of a pit stop already behind. So, this race has really not gone well at all for the Dutchman.
Once again, looking at the driver lineup, essentially for BAR. Maybe a more capable pair of hands could do more damage, as McLaren is ready in the pits. That surely has to be from Raikkonen.
It is for Raikkonen, so Schumacher seems to have the outright pace because he's very much quicker than his teammate Kimi Raikkonen, even though Raikkonen has the lighter fuel load and is in on lap 35. So Raikkonen in at the halfway point for the second time is definitely going to be a three-stop strategy, I would imagine.
Here's the thing, though. With the traffic being quite heavy at the moment, maybe McLaren is pitting Raikkonen early as well for the free stop, in terms of getting him out of this set traffic, and maybe getting him once again in clean air.
But even with the heavy fuel load, or heavy-ish fuel load that he'll be on now, I imagine that very quickly he'll be onto the back of this train again that he's just all lapped. So this could be a poor strategy from McLaren or could be a good strategy. It all depends on when that battle pack towards the back of the field all pit. Because if they're all on three stops as well, or one stops, then it will work out for Raikkonen. But if they're all on two stops, then it will not go his way at all. Massa then is going to be into the box. I think this is for the first time in this Grand Prix. Sperrifico is also into the pits.
As there are a lot of teams currently ready in the pits. That would be for Pitsonia, actually.
De La Rosa has just overtaken Ralph Furman, and I've got to say the Spaniard has done a fantastic job in keeping himself in the points. I don't think he has stopped yet in this race, but he's only scored 1 point, 1 points finish so far this season, that being a 4th place finish at the Monaco Grand Prix. He's on course for a 2nd points finish this time round. Heidfeld is actually now up into 9th place. Maybe make that 10th as Montoya goes clean around his outside there. That just shows the difference in car setup and overall car development between Williams and Brabham. You can see that the Brabham is quite clearly the faster car in the straight line compared to the Williams, but the Williams in turn has probably one of the best downforce packages in the whole field, I would say. So it's a quite different game that Heidfeld and Montoya have to play with each other.
As Pablo Montoya has finally getting his wake-up call, essentially. Furman now is into the pits, and that elevates Montoya into the points-paying position.
So Montoya now up into 8th. After all that, he's still in 8th place. So I feel like Williams have kind of messed up his strategy in this Grand Prix, but I feel like it's now all coming together for the Colombian. Coronel has indeed been passed by Ricardo Zonta, so yeah, it's not going well right now for the Dutchman, who is down 5 places from his grid spot. Biggest gainers though in the field, De La Rosa up 11, Heidfeld up 10, Glock and Zonta as well, both up 6. Biggest losers though, you'd have to consider Tom Coronel actually, and Enrico Toccacello, who are down 5 and 6 places respectively.
In the meantime, Timo Glock is nowhere to be seen in this battle anymore, as Ralf Schumacher has lost a lot of positions. He's
just pit.
Down to pit. Oh, he's pit, okay.
Yeah, so Ralf Schumacher pits for the second time in this race.
Past Fisichella though.
Yes, he has. Where is he? Yeah, so there is Fisichella now behind Giorgio Pantano once again. Brabham already in the pits, probably for Nick Heidfeld, I would take a stab at.
Pitsonia's just pits, so yeah, it would be Heidfeld.
Giancarlo Fisichella keeping with his countrymen as of right now, but can't quite find a way through for the middle sector. Schumacher leads then across the line to start lap 39. And I've got to say, Rubens Barrichello has got nothing to hold up to Michael Schumacher right now. It seems that Schumacher once again could be on course for victory, and it would be his 5th victory of the season. When Michael Schumacher's finished, other than one time this season where he finished 4th, which was the first round of the season where he fell to the back of the field due to collision damage, he made a pit stop, basically went the whole race on one fuel load, finished in 4th place. Every other race that he has finished, he has won. Every other race other than the one that he's won, he's retired from, other than the said 4th place. So Michael Schumacher is in a league of his own when it comes to strategy and overall pace. And I've got to say, it's all down to the car, really. I feel like Michael Schumacher is well equipped to win this championship. Of course, he's still 16 points behind his teammates in the title race with 6 rounds to go, including this one. But he would take it down to 12 as it currently stands with 5 rounds to go. And I've got to say, 12 points to gain in 5 rounds is very, very easy, because all that needs is 5 wins for Schumacher, 4 second places and a 3rd for Raikkonen, and Schumacher wins the championship. So it's very doable for Michael Schumacher at this current stage. It just all depends, like I say, on his mechanical reliability.
De La Rosa re-emerges in 8th because Tocacello's one stop is not working at all.
That was very close between Raikkonen and Dixon there. Dixon nearly making contact through the fastest corner, possibly in Formula 1 there. The Iceman, though, with ice in his veins, of course, makes that move, doesn't make much of a deal about it, and stays in 3rd place without his car being absolutely ripped apart and in the concrete barrier. As there goes Webber, looking for a move on Enrico Tocacello, nearly spinning the car in the progress. We know how unsteady that car is on the rear, and now will come under pressure once again from Riccardo Sbarafico in the Toyota.
So De La Rosa is looking good for another points finish, as Tocacello is nowhere to be seen.
What do you mean? He's there on the screen.
Well, he still needs to pit again. Actually, pit for the first time.
Yeah.
As for the great news of the lofty heights of 23rd, Riccardo Sonta has gotten past Takuma Sato.
And Massa and Manassian are battling. And up the inside for the French-Armenian driver, and he makes his way up into 16th position. I've got to say, this has not been a good race if you're a fan of the Dams team. Furman down in 12th, Manassian in 16th. And yeah, it's been a fairly quiet race for these two. Been stuck in traffic most of the race. Yeah, Tocacello has a penalty, Jesus Christ. A strategy. Yeah. Yes, he has a strategy.
Mark Webber now got past the Ferrari for 9th. Kiwi fans really always moaning about the strategy, no matter what. Actually, the strategy is helping against Barrichello, because if Raikkonen would be fueled on the same level as Barrichello, I feel like Barrichello would have the upper hand on the fin, so... This Webber now got past Pedro De La Rosa.
Yeah, it's just that in the pit generation, Jake, I can make it so the drivers can also go a lot longer on their one-stops than what they normally can. Otherwise, well, do on the base pit generator, so... You can change on, like, what percentage of the race that they'll pit on the pit gen. I changed it for this year so they can go a lot longer on a one-stop. Obviously, I don't actually know the strategies off by heart. I just copy and paste them into the circuit GDB. So, Toyota into the pits. That's Giancarlo Fisichella, the Italian from 5th place, into the box. And Pantano will actually get some breathing room for once on this stint.
But Villeneuve could be close with Fisichella.
Yeah, about 27 seconds of margin that Fisichella has over the Canadian, and the battle, I reckon, is going to be between Toyota and Williams once more this season. A long stop.
Too long at this point. 9 seconds would have been more preferable for them.
And across the line goes Fisichella to start, lap 42, and it still should just be about enough to keep him ahead of the Williams. There is Fisichella now coming out of the pits in towards turn 1, and he's done enough.
As Timo Glock now also got past Ralph Furman for 12th.
Welcome
Montoya is
in,
yet to pit.
You're running first.
Maulik. I think that's your name, Maulik. Welcome in. Why the old F1 game rather than the newer F1 games like F1 25? Well, for F1 25, you can't do like spectator mode like this. It's also very easy to mod in terms of like liveries and car performance and so on, and driver transfers. I can do that all myself by just a bit of editing in Notepad. Really, it's very simple to do once you get the hang of it, and it's just yeah, it's a lot easier to set up compared to stuff like that. It's a lot more. There's a lot more creative freedom in what you can do. For example, Michael Schumacher in a McLaren, and it's also you get better cars to choose from because you know. I don't know about anyone else, but I prefer to watch 2000s F1 cars over, you know, watching 2025.
Oh, yeah.
Also, 2025 F1 2025 runs like an absolute boat on my car. Jeez, I think it'd run badly on any car, to be honest. It runs terribly on my computer, so yeah.
And it's also a pretty shit game, so no reason to really buy it. Anyway, Villeneuve and Fisichella could be close again, with the Canadian only 1 second behind the Italian. Meantime, at front, Barrichello's close to 11 seconds behind the Michael.
Yeah, it seems like this is going to be...
down.
It has died down because Schumacher has just shot off into the distance. You can see there the pace difference. Barrichello losing 0.6 of a second throughout a lap. That was lap 43, the lap that's just gone. And in particular, through that middle sector, is losing 0.4 of a second.
Driving's good on F1 25. Nope. It's abysmal.
It's weird because on F1 25 for me the frame rate is very variable. Like certain things on the screen will happen at like 100 FPS and certain things on the screen will happen at 10 FPS. For example, driving the car will happen at 100 FPS. You know, turning the steering wheel is like 2 FPS. It's like so distracting, and it's just so unoptimized to the point where I can play the same game like F1 24. Sorry on that rant. Fisichella has been overtaken by Jacques Villeneuve. Probably Villeneuve has to stop again, so Fisichella will jump back ahead of him before the end of this race. Or will he? Because that's his engine failure. Oh
no!
That's Fisichella with an engine failure. We saw a previous Toyota engine failure in the race with Justin Wilson retiring due to engine trouble, and this is going to be the third retirement of this Grand Prix. Giancarlo Fisichella then will have his 3-point streak halted here at the United States Grand Prix with an engine failure.
On the topic of R-Factor being easier to mod than F1 Challenge, well, the F1 Challenge AI is more predictable in what they do. R-Factor's AI is pretty much set up for every competition, so they don't do curbs that well, and you can't really do strategies for them. So it's easier to run simulations.
I mean, I can do
on
strategies.
F1 Challenge. Yeah, you can, but it's easier to do them on F1 Challenge.
There's change in the fringes of the top 10 as Fisichella, I don't know if he's realised that his engine's on smoke, but Tom Coronel certainly will be able to tell.
It's dying on him any moment. As this could maybe elevate Sparrow-Fico into the points. Or Mark Webber fully into him, because Mark Webber still has to pit again.
And we'll come back to Fisichella when his engine actually gives way, as here is Enrico Toccacello, probably now on a light fuel load, looking to fight back. Mark Webber is on his hit list here, as he potentially looks for a move up the inside in towards the first corner. A long way back, though, in the braking zone. And he actually makes the move! What a move by the Italian of Enrico Toccacello, looking like he's been in F1 for years with that sort of move. And he's now back up into the points-paying positions. Montoya is a long way up the road, and also on that heavy first stint, but Toccacello and Montoya now have something to play for, as they both now sit in the points, and with Fisichella also retiring, this could greatly improve their chances of potentially scoring points in this race. Of course, other mechanical retirements could fall their way, So you never know in the world of Formula 1. There's still 27 laps remaining.
Toccocello proving that he still has at least pace now compared to other drivers on his lighter Ferrari. Maybe not accustomed to heavier fuel loads at that in this rate.
And Fisichella's still circling around the circuit. He's been smoking now for about 2 straight laps at this point, and surely that Toyota engine has got to give way. Toyota have suffered a lot of engine failures this season comparative to their rivals, and it could prove decisive in terms of potential grid penalties and fines, because, considering they could go over their allotted amounts for the season.
Seems like the Toyota engines around Indianapolis don't do well, considering all the retirements, courtesy of an engine failure, are Toyota related. Or will soon to be all related to a Toyota engine blowing up. If I ignore the fire, I can't stop me. Yeah, essentially that's what Fisichella is currently doing.
Yes, Malik, the aim is to, because, oh, there goes Fisichella's engine, black smoke coming out the back of that car, and he is out, parking on the final corner there. The car should be recovered from there, but Fisichella now becomes the 3rd retirement of this Grand Prix. Yeah, we normally stream these at a later time. I streamed this, started this at 2 PM my time, normally do them at 6, but because the Miami Grand Prix is happening at 6, I decided to do it earlier. Crikey, only 2 drivers out. Well, James, it's now 3. Fisichella's just retired from the Grand Prix. Yeah, it's been commendable, the reliability rates of this Grand Prix, and overall this season, I feel like we've had a lot less mechanical issues compared to previous seasons. I feel like the most retirements that we've had so far this season was at Monaco, where 12 cars finished that race. So we've, more often than not, had quite a number of drivers finishing, and I don't think actually that many drivers actually crashed out at Monaco. I think a lot of them were mechanical retirements, because I think how it works is, rather than like how much the AI strains the engine, it's based on just the timer. And because Monaco takes longer than any other track, then there's more likely to be mechanical failures, which is an interesting way of doing it. But Michael Schumacher is into the stop at the end of this lap.
It could be close for Raikkonen once again.
Yeah, 24 seconds is the gap between him and Raikkonen as he makes his way into the box. Meanwhile, for Mark Webber, he's re-overtaken Enrico Toccocello in that battle for 7th. That's going to allow Montoya to potentially gain the advantage over the 2 of them by the time he stops, potentially. Where am I from? I am British, and Nils is German. So, yeah,
on the topic of Monaco not having that many DNFs regarded to incidents, there were only 2. The rest were engine, gearbox, or brake related.
Yeah, okay. I think the 2 dams have met each other on circuit again, so we'll see how that one plays out. Michael Schumacher, though, most importantly, has rejoined ahead of his teammate Kimi Raikkonen, who still needs to make another stop. So Raikkonen, 12 seconds off the lead currently, will probably be more than that. Or actually, because Barrichello's only stopped once, hasn't he? So he could...
And he's stuck in traffic now.
Yeah, he still needs to make a stop. So depending on when Barrichello stops, could Raikkonen overcut him? And could this be a McLaren 1-2? With the traffic that is happening on Barrichello's... part of this racetrack right now, could potentially hold the advantage to Kimi Raikkonen. He's gained a second.
As we are yet to wait Montoya and Toccocello into the pits, as Barrichello is pitting at the end of this lap. So Raikkonen will probably jump in this pit stop phase.
Yeah, Benny's right with that. It normally lasts about 3 laps. Otherwise, it usually just blows up on the spot. But for Mark Webber, he's going to be into the points. Sorry, he's going to fall out of the points, and actually outside the top 10 entirely. May rejoin now on circuit just in front of Mark Webber here. Oh, sorry, not Mark Webber, Nicholas Manassi. I'm looking at his name and, yeah. Button's also into the stop. at the end of this lap. A 9-second stop then for Mark Webber, and he's going to rejoin at the... Oh, we thought he was going to jump ahead of Manassian. He's all the way down in 16th, so Webber's got his work cut out for him if he wants to make his way into the points, as Pizzoni has just overtaken Heidfeld in that battle between the two Brabhams. At the front of the field, though, Rubens Barrichello is going to pit from the race lead. So, Schumacher surely must take the lead of this Grand Prix. But the question is, can Kimi Raikkonen take second place through the pit stops? This is also crucial that Raikkonen actually makes this move on Michael Schumacher as well, because Schumacher most definitely is going to the end of this race. Raikkonen most definitely isn't, so it would be in McLaren's best interest in terms of the constructors to let Raikkonen through and try and get a gap over Rubens Barrichello. An 8.8 second stop then for Rubinho, as he's going to go to the end of this race on lap 51, so he's got 22 laps to go. As Massa is off the track. Massa's had a brake failure and is the 4th retirement of this race. So a lot of retirements now happening in this race, as there is a number of drivers coming to the pit. So I won't look at that replay right now, but I will do once everyone makes their way into the pit box. I think Williams are ready in the pits to serve a driver. Is it Jacques Villeneuve? It is Jacques Villeneuve. So Jacques Villeneuve in from 5th position.
You can now look at the replay, I think.
Yes.
Nobody's near that banking, so... Where is Massa?
Here he is.
There he is.
So he's between the two Dams drivers, in towards the end of the back straight in the middle sector.
Interesting line.
It seems like a similar issue to what Justin Wilson had in qualifying. So, yeah, brake failure for him through the double hairpin. And unfortunately for him, he is the 4th retirement of this Grand Prix. So, the first non-engine mechanical retirement of the Grand Prix, as Montoya may be close to his teammate, Jacques Villeneuve.
Not really.
Pit exit is a good stop, though. 7.7 second stop for the Canadian. And he will rejoin about a second or so in front of Montoya. Yes.
Montoya still has the pit, and same for Toccocello?
Yeah, Montoya and Toccocello still need to box.
As there goes Pantano also into the pits.
So Pantano into the box then from 4th position. His gap to Jacques Villeneuve behind is the best part of a lap, so it's almost certain that he's going to rejoin in the position that he went into the pits in, as Raikkonen is all over the back of Michael Schumacher for the race lead. We've got to remember, though, Schumacher is going to the end, Raikkonen isn't. So Raikkonen probably would benefit from overtaking his teammate Michael Schumacher, and is going to go for it in towards the middle sector. Through the double hairpin, Schumacher with that inside line holds his teammates off. So potentially, this could be gamesmanship from Schumacher in turn, who needs to gain points on, of course, his teammates in the championship. Raikkonen leads the way in the standings by 16 over his teammates. Schumacher all the way down in 4th position in the title race. Pantano, if you don't know, Pantano is 7 points back from Raikkonen in the championship, and 3rd place is Jarno Trulli, but is unfortunately injured, and Enrico Toccocello has taken his seat at Ferrari. So maybe Schumacher wants Raikkonen to lose as many points as possible in the championship, regardless of whether Ron Dennis would want to gain more points over Renault in the Constructors' Championship.
I mean, the gap to Pantano is big enough, considering that, but still you would probably want to be ahead of Barrichello. Barrichello still has to get through this traffic as well, as Montoya is finally pitting.
Raikkonen would definitely rejoin in front of Pantano, because this is the gap between the car in front. So Pantano's half a minute down on Barrichello, so it would definitely come out in 3rd place, Raikkonen. But his aim is to try and rejoin in 2nd. But with Barrichello now 15, nearly 16 seconds off the race lead, could potentially actually lose this 2nd position to Raikkonen. And who knows, maybe within these last 20 laps, if Raikkonen rejoins behind him, could still overtake Barrichello.
As Montoya now finally pits from 5th. probably rejoin in 6th as well. So actually, pretty decent strategy at the end for the Williams team.
You're running first.
As the stop was 9.3 seconds, Tococello is still nowhere to be seen. There he is.
Yeah, Montoya's easily come out in 6th place here, even with the fairly lengthy stop that it was. He's going to rejoin behind his teammate and in 6th position, just in front of Rubens Barrichello. Oh, this could be crucial then. If Montoya holds up Barrichello in such a way where he loses seconds of time here, it could present an opportunity for Raikkonen to overcut him.
Maybe potentially helping out his future employer, seeing as McLaren has not confirmed their lineup yet and Montoya is yet to join any team. Is doing a good job at this. Pitsonia is told to stop again.
Lets Barrichello through down the back straight. That's going to be time lost there for Rubens Barrichello. And the time is going to extend up to, when we get the time update, 16 seconds. It's actually come down somewhat, so maybe a bit of traffic for the McLarens as well. Barrichello's got a lot of traffic in front of him, about 4 or 5 cars between him and the 2 McLarens, as Raikkonen is really going for it.
Raikkonen setting faster lap times than Michael in terms of overall 1st and 3rd sector, but the middle sector is more to be desired. But there goes Kimi into the lead of this race.
He's taking no prisoners in this Grand Prix. He's not going to need the help of his teammate. He just overtakes him on track himself. So now Raikkonen can go running off into the distance and try and build out a gap to Barrichello before he pits. Why is Button 20k slower than Manassi when they use the same engine? Because the Jaguar's rubbish. Just the car's rubbish, as well as the engine. The Dams is actually good in terms of a car. The Jaguar is not. That's why.
As Tococello and Pitsonia into the pits. Tococello 9.4 seconds, even with the heavier first stint. A long stop for the Ferrari. We'll see him out again in 14th, possibly.
But now he's on a level playing field with the rest of the field in terms of his fuel load, so maybe he can drag that Ferrari potentially towards the points. So drivers such as Pedro De La Rosa, Riccardo Sperrifico could potentially be looking in their mirrors at red by the end of this Grand Prix, as Webber has actually just overtaken Tococello. I say that. Manassian has just overtaken Heidfeld. Heidfeld in turn has just overtaken Furman, I think.
Furman lost 2 positions.
Oh, Furman's off the track, that's why.
Oh.
Furman's just made a mistake.
What happened there? Maybe both dams collided?
I have a feeling I might have just pit-bugged someone.
4.
I'm not entirely sure. Hope I haven't. Ah, yes, there was a collision. Yeah. But could you consider Manassian there and...
No. Not really. Manassian was not alongside, not significantly. So...
I think Manassian's going to pick up a penalty for that one. For colliding with his teammate, it's a 5-second time penalty, the stewards have decided.
As Raikkonen is pitting at the end of this lap, 17 seconds is the gap between him and Barrichello.
Fortunately, I did not pit bug anyone. Yeah, so Raikkonen is pulling out the gap that he...
Actually, Barrichello is stuck behind a Boutsen.
Oh, he's got to go around the outside. He needs to make this move. And he does make the move. Crucial there for Barrichello. He loses a bit of time.
It's going to be close at the end, because Raikkonen will be on much fresher tires compared to the Ferrari.
Lap 56 then, and Raikkonen is into the stop at the end of this lap. He's in for his 3rd of 3 stops, or scheduled stops, in this Grand Prix. So let's see what is going to happen here. Is it going to be Raikkonen or Barrichello out in 2nd position? Barrichello now making his way into the final sector. Raikkonen into the pit box, and it needs to be a good stop for the McLaren crew. It's not. It's 8.3 seconds. And this is going to be tantalizingly close between the McLaren and the Ferrari on pit exit, but I think the Brazilian may have just done enough here. Raikkonen out of the pit box. Barrichello already down the main straight. There he is in towards turn 1. And Raikkonen has got to bear down on him now. The gap is 2 seconds between Barrichello and Raikkonen. And I've got to say, if that was a faster stop, there could have been a chance that Raikkonen jumped ahead of him there.
If it would be around a 6 or 7 stop, he would have probably been jumping ahead of the Ferrari, as De La Rosa is now back up into 7th, as Minardi stops again. Heidfeld up into 9th.
He is indeed. Heidfeld is going to be there to take any opportunity that he can if any more mechanical failures happen for those drivers in the points. He's actually harrying Giorgio Pantano a little bit through the first couple of corners. Webber there, under pressure from Enrico Toccacello. I said about Toccacello making his way back up the field, as Furman has now been overtaken by both of them for 10th place. I think you heard what he said, James.
We're not gonna repeat those numbers.
Furman looking back towards the inside. Toccacello's been caught unawares there, looking towards the outside of Webber, and has just left the door wide open for the Irishman to go through. So...
Montoya's out! No!
No, Glock is out. Glock is out. So Glock out with the suspension failure there, and a shame for the Opel team, as they were looking to potentially get both drivers into the top 15 in this race. His teammate, though, Pedro De La Rosa, still holding firm ahead of Riccardo Sperrifico in that battle for 7th. Toccacello's back ahead. Toccacello's back ahead of Furman. So now he's got Mark Webber to deal with. This will be the battle for 10th place. Nick Heidfeld about 7 or so seconds up the road at this point, and Toccacello probably needs to make this move now if he wants to catch the other drivers for the final point. We've seen a lot of daring moves here from Toccacello, and there's another one, and it is another place gained at turn 1 for Enrico Toccacello. It's the top 10 now for the Ferrari driver. What is the gap? There's 15 laps to go for the race leader. I think, I think Toccacello may go 2 laps down before the end of this race. That's not a good one. I need the interval, which is 6.5 seconds. And I've got to say, Heidfeld is being held up by Pantano here. So this could, in turn, ruin the chances of Nick Heidfeld scoring points, even if there is mechanical retirements in front.
Toccacello indeed is also definitely in a faster car, so if he didn't get wasn't getting close to Heidfeld, it would be quite a downturn. No, that's the wrong wording. Downturn in his state in Ferrari as well. We are now on lap 59 of 73. And Raikkonen is only 1.3 seconds behind Barrichello at this point.
Yeah, Raikkonen is catching up because Justin Wilson... No, that's Benoit Trellier, sorry, in the Rose Toyota. Webber has
ahead of Toccacello.
Okay, so Webber could be potentially in the fight for the points as well, if he can hold on. There goes Barrichello ahead of Benoit Trellier. There goes Raikkonen, and it's game on now.
Much easier for the Finn compared to the Ferrari, who did the heavy lifting for both of them. And seeing how the Mercedes is much faster on a straight line, this could maybe be curtains for Barrichello soon.
This could also be crucial in the Constructors' Championship. Of course, Alonso retiring from the race and Pantano outside the podium positions is going to allow McLaren to massively extend their championship gap ahead of the Renault team. And with Ferrari also with only one driver in the points, this could also bring McLaren also pretty much within putting one hand essentially on the Constructors' Trophy already. The live points gap between Kimi and Michael would be 12 points as it currently stands, but it would extend to 14 if Raikkonen can make it through on Barrichello, and it's going... There's contact between the two as they go through the double hairpin. Raikkonen looking towards the outside. Barrichello fending him off. He's got 13 laps to hold on to this one in the battle for second position. Hello, Casey. Welcome in.
Is Raikkonen maybe now down to turn 1, where most of the moves have been done in this race. It's closer than before. Could maybe do it into the turn 1 here already.
I don't think he's going to be
Toccacello
close
once
enough.
again. Well, Toccacello dived it from 4 attempts down.
Raikkonen nearly with the move there, but he's not quite able to draw alongside Rubens Barrichello. Stays behind for now. Barrichello doing a good job of holding off the fastest lap holder of this Grand Prix.
Maybe down into turn 5.
I've got to say, compared to previous United States Grand Prix held at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, this has been much more enthralling to watch compared to any of the 2000, 01 and 02 races that we had around here. And it could prove
up into 7th.
It could prove a potential headache for the track organisers, because of course Watkins Glen is also a great venue last season, or it was a great venue for the Grand Prix. We saw a very interesting race there. Michael Schumacher, probably the end of his championship hopes, went there when he crashed from the race lead at the final corner. So maybe the American, maybe the growth of the American thing in motorsport could potentially be allowing the return of multiple American rounds, as there Raikkonen again. How is Lewis Hamilton in the universe at the moment? His career is over. He's not dead, but he is he is not racing in Formula One.
Let's say he's probably one inch shorter than he is in real life.
Dear me. Yeah, he had a pretty horrendous crash in a F3 Euro Series earlier this season, which unfortunately has probably curtailed his whole career.
As Webber and Toccacello are currently holding each other up from getting closer to Heifeld. As Furman now gets past Toccacello again.
Hamilton is 18, turning 19 in 2004. Gap now between Heidfeld and... What?
10 seconds. 11 seconds, yeah. I said that they were holding each other up with the battling.
Dear me, they've lost about 5 or 6 seconds there to Heidfeld. This is perfect then for the Brabham driver. No. Casey is 18, turning 19 in 04. His birthday is January 85, so yeah, he's the yeah, he'd be right now in universe. He's 19.
Raikkonen tries to find a move at any point, essentially on this circuit now.
Raikkonen unable. This is almost a complete carbon copy of the earlier on in the race, where Raikkonen was struggling to get past Rubens Barrichello in that first stint, and it seems that Barrichello doing the exact same as he did at the start of the race. Hello, Larice, welcome in. We've got 10 laps to go then in the United States Grand Prix, and Michael Schumacher has got a commanding lead at the front of the field. He's leading by 23 seconds, but this is the battle that we're all looking at, the battle between Barrichello and Raikkonen for second. Sperrifico and De La Rosa continue to battle, as Furman's still ahead of Enrico Toccacello. I feel like the Ferrari's chances... Absolute opal. De La Rosa out of the race from the points. This is crucial then for Brabham, who with Nick Heidfeld is now on course for his second points finish of the season. Absolute devastation for Opel there. Both cars out of the race with mechanical problems, and Heidfeld now moves up into 8th position in this race.
Sorry, I have to be an unbiased commentator, but
Raikkonen going for the move again on Barrichello, still can't find his way through. He needs probably some lap traffic to probably interfere in this, but there's not. I don't know if there's going to be any before the end of this race.
10 laps to go.
where we are currently at... no, Maybe.
It seems that the retirement of Pedro de la Rosa has split the chats in terms of their opinions. Where is de la Rosa? He's out the race, mate. He's just retired from 8th place of this Grand Prix.
Honest.
So that's not the first time either that we've seen such events occur for Opel in such great positions as Furman is off the road. He's
again,
lost a lot of
the hell is
places
going
there.
on here?
Scott Dixon's up to 11th. Where's this all come from? Torricello's overtaken Mark Webber as well. Let's get a replay of that, because I'm pretty sure that that Ralph Furman has just had some sort of incident with Mark Webber. Or was it?
Oh, this
no.
is. Oh, Michael got past all of them, and so everybody was bunched up.
And then
That's
Furman's
nice.
paid the price. Up the inside goes Torricello of not one but two cars. Scott Dixon also makes that move. So the BA are now up into 11th place.
All this is actually helping Kimi because those two are catching them. And maybe at the end of, maybe on the last lap, they are in striking distance as Pizzoni has been overtaken by two cars. Who cares?
No, what it is, Galactic, is that a lot of the lower teams are owned by or run by players who are currently in chat. For example, Benny runs the Opel team, who is in chat right now with the blue profile picture. So a lot of them have something riding on this. Of course, Nick Heidfeld drives for Brabham, who is run by Nils's team, who is commentating with me today. And yeah, on course for his second points finish of the season. He's only previously scored points for Brabham in the last season's Japanese Grand Prix, where he got 8th, and this season's Bahrain Grand Prix, where he was 7th. What has happened to Trulli? Trulli was injured post-Hungarian Grand Prix. He had a suspension failure across the line. Welcome in, Duisburg, by the way. Yeah, so he had a suspension failure across the line, was clattered into by David Coulthard across the line, and as such, both drivers are out for a number of races. Trulli has got the less of the severe injuries, and as such, will be back for the next race at the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps. This is round 13 of 18, and Raikkonen currently leads the championship by 7 points. But it will be extended to 8 with Pantano 1 place further behind, unless Raikkonen can get past Rubens Barrichello here.
As Torricello, Webber, Dixon, Furman, Battle is holding each other completely up with the gap now to Heifeld 16 seconds. So Torricello has to hope that something happens in front of him. Well, in this
Something
case,
has
not
happened
Mark
in front
Webber.
of him. Mark Webber's happened in front of him. He's got past him, and now Torricello relegated once more down to 10th place. And I've got to say, if someone now resides in the points, there's going to be an almighty scrap for this final point. Between Webber, Torricello, Dixon, and Furman, all in contention for that final point.
As anybody's guess is really who gets that final point there.
Raikkonen still looking for a way through on lap 67 of 73. At the end of this lap, it will be 6 laps to go for Raikkonen to try and find a way through on Barrichello, but he just can't seem to do it any which way that he looks. And it's just...
Now goes for the move. I love how the chat did literally got into meltdown as soon as Pedro retired.
the chat has just completely blown up. The sight of Pedro de la Rosa coincidentally blowing up.
Lap 68 now for the
Oh dear
Michael.
me.
Torricello once again gets past Mark Webber.
Yeah, they pretty much decide on everything. That the drivers, the engine, the reliability, the car parts, the upgrades, and everything such as that. The sponsors that go in the car, and the budget that goes into the car as well, is decided by their board as well, depending on how well they do. Okay, Benny, chill out, bro.
Okay, Benny.
2004 Drive to Survive.
As Toccacello has now 1.6 second gap to Mark Webber, actually. So finally maybe has gotten past the Red Bull for good.
Maybe could be the case, but for right now, I don't think he's going to catch Heidfeld in time, with the gap still extending between Toccacello and Heidfeld.
Benny, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Okay.
Thank you.
So, end of lap 69. Nice. And Barrichello has kind of pulled out a bit of a margin here alongside, ahead of Raikkonen, I should say. Gap is about 0.6 across the line, so Raikkonen, I'm pretty sure, is going to have no chance of making this move in towards the first corner.
As they are
yeah, not even close.
slowly approaching the lap traffic of, I think that's the battle between Toccacello, Webber, Dixon, Furman, and so on.
That is a... No, that's a Williams at the front of that train.
So then what's
So-
the... Who would it be then?
Let's find it. Oh, it's
Villeneuve.
Schumacher, Manassian, and Pitsonia, led by Villeneuve, who's a lap ahead of those guys, so... Schumacher looking set here to take victory at the United States Grand Prix, and it would be his 5th victory of the season. I don't think we've had any driver score more than 2 victories this year. I don't know if you can correct me on that, but...
I will do. Yano truly has 3.
Trulli has 3, but Schumacher still has the most of the season with 4, and he's on course to take his 5th of the season in the first 13 rounds. My word! Raikkonen nearly lost the car through the oval. that would have been a devastating crash there for Raikkonen if he'd lost the car through the dirty air seemingly playing an effect here with the loss of downforce. He's still going for it though on Rubens Barrichello.
Giving his nickname all the credentials essentially now. Raikkonen all around the outside actually tries to get a move on, but no good. And I think I saw Pitsonia.
Yeah, Pitsonia was just there in the background. And Raikkonen may have a run here.
Maybe this time.
He's a bit closer than what he has been in the previous laps. He looks towards the inside of Rubens Barrichello. Could this be the moment where Raikkonen takes second place? No, Barrichello still has him covered. As Webber has once again re-overtaken Enrico Toccacello, so that battle really hammer and tong. Of course, there is also post-race scrutineering, so even if there are no retirements to the end of this race, there still could be a chance for one of those guys to take the final points place. And of course, if you are interested in finding out early who is going to be scrutinised and the complete race results and the championship standings early and any news that happens, be sure to join the Discord. It is in the link in the stream, in the description of the stream. You can find it there. I will also get a link up and put it in chat if anyone would like it.
FF, I will tell you now, if you keep on mentioning Stuart stuff, I will time you out again. Finding out early, yes. An early reference. Anyway, Raikkonen once again maybe looking for a move down into this corner. No, thinks better of it. Nah, actually, never mind. He thinks not better of it. Goes for the move again.
Right, that should be an up-to-date link that works. If you want to check it out in chat, be sure to join the Discord. And if you have enjoyed this Grand Prix, I know I have, be sure to like the stream and subscribe. So I want to hit 1,250 subscribers before my birthday on June 8th. Might not be able to hit it by that point, but would be cool to still get there at some point. Nevertheless, as Toccacello has overtaken Mark Webber once again for 9th position.
Yeah. I mean, whoever is ninth at the end could possibly, as you already stated, benefit for post-race scrutineering disqualification from any of the top 8.
We've got 40 viewers. Damn. Thanks everyone who has joined today, by the way. Much appreciate the support.
Raikkonen now looks for a move at any point, essentially, on the circuit, as we are heading onto the final lap of this race.
No, Chrysler just wouldn't be a thing in this series.
Chrysler also doesn't own Fiat. Fiat is his own company.
Yeah, Fiat owns Chrysler, not the other way around. So Michael Schumacher starts the final lap of the race, 72 laps down, and he's just got one more to go to complete a 5th victory of the season, and it would be his 2nd in a row, or 3rd in a row. Driver of the day, it's all Mercedes-powered cars, Schumacher, Raikkonen, Heidfeld. Good to see some of the smaller drivers up there in terms of the results, as that is an engine.
Up?
Who is that? Who is it? Who?
Who's blowing up?
Is it you? It's you!
No.
It's Webber! It's Webber on the final lap.
Webber.
So Webber's got one more lap to go, and that's almost certainly going to curtail any chance of him scoring points today, as he's going to fall down the order. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Schumacher has out-strategized, outwitted everybody to take a victory here once more in the United States. I actually don't know if he's won a United States Grand Prix before this point, but he is going to be winning one now within 2 corners time. Schumacher then, with his 5th victory of the season. His reliability woes seem to be behind him as he now rounds the final corner and takes victory. It's Schumacher winning the 2004 United States Grand Prix in comfortable fashion ahead of this man right here, unless Raikkonen can find a way through. With just a couple of corners to go, the Boutsen gets out of the way of the Ferrari, but not out the way of Raikkonen. Why is Raikkonen looking towards the outside? I'm not entirely sure, but that's going to give Barrichello that 2nd place, and he will come across the line to take a brilliant position in which the Ferrari fans, most definitely, as well as all those, a lot of journalists were doubting Barrichello's abilities following Canada, but he's bounced back here with a brilliant 2nd place after securing pole position. Raikkonen, with another podium on the board, will extend his championship lead over Giorgio Pantano, who will finish in 4th and last on the lead lap, but Schumacher is closing in. Villeneuve finishes ahead of Montoya for the first time on his 2nd attempt as Williams' teammates. Montoya with a brilliant strategy to finish in 6th place. Riccardo Sperrifico will get more points on the board for Toyota after Fisichella retired. And Nick Heidfeld, luck of the draw you might call it, but he's there at the end of the race in 8th position. Toccocello just misses out with Scott Dixon completing the top 10. Ralph Furman overtaking Mark Webber at the last, as there is the engine that's gone in the back of the Red Bull, and he will fail to reach the garage on the in-lap, so that will go down as an engine failure for him, but still 12th place. Nicholas Manassian then will come home in 13th. A fairly solemn race for Dams considering their previous potential. Ralf Schumacher in 14th. Pitsonia, Trellier, Button, Coronel, Sato and Zonta, the 20 drivers. Okay, brilliant stuff there. The 20 drivers that completed this race. 6 retirements, including both Opels, De La Rosa from the points, with Massa, Fisichella, Wilson and Alonso also retiring from the Grand Prix. Any words to say on that, Nils?
Anyway.
I don't think it picked up there exactly.
As there was an incident in pits, no haha, Benny. Anyway, the championship fight is definitely now on, with Michael being back in it.
Oh, there's the airplane! The airplane!
There's
yeah!
the airplane!
The airplane was going vertical. Where is it? I can't see it anymore. It's disappeared. Okay. But remember, guys, if you have enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe. Schumacher is well and truly back in this championship fight, as he now sits 12 points behind his teammate with 5 rounds to go. The Belgian Grand Prix will be next Sunday, as I don't know when the next stream actually will be, because I'm unsure whether I'll be able to do the next round of the AMS1 co-op career with James and Thomas, with my pedals messing up constantly. So it could be... I'm not exactly sure when the next stream actually could be. So, like I say, thanks for everyone who has joined us today, and I hope to see you in the next stream. Goodbye.